Hello, my name is Angelica, and this is the Angelica Unfiltered channel where I talk about stuff and things that I'm scared to say. I am super excited for this video because I will be interviewing RoseyBeeme. If you're not familiar with her, don't worry about it because we will get into it when we talk. I just want to let you know that I will be posting a director's cut, if you will, over on Patreon if you are interested in getting more of the nitty-gritty details about Rosie's situation or just knowing more about what we talk about. My Patreon is $3 a month if you're interested in joining. Besides the director cuts of all my YouTube videos, you also get an exclusive Patreon video every single week, as well as there are 3 different chats available for unfiltered divas over there. I will have all of that linked down below, as well as the cutesy jewelry that I'm wearing. But without further ado, let's get into this conversation with Miss RoseyBeeme. RoseyBeeme, formerly known as Rosie Blair, is a plus-size fashion content creator. She also posts a lot about home decor and spooky season. She has been posting on social media for well over a decade, but most recently went viral at the beginning of 2024 when she expressed her desire to lose weight because she was having a hard time with, I'll be frank, wiping her ass. A very infamous fat acceptance influencer by the name of Fat Girl Flo, her real name is Clarissa, took it upon herself to write a full-blown blog post about Rosie and said that Rosie was ableist for wanting to be able to wipe her ass. And in case you're interested, this blog post is still available on fatgirlflow.com. Many people in the anti-fat acceptance community here on YouTube have made videos about this topic, like Megan Ann, Sam at Every Size, and Obese to Beast if you would like more detail. And yes, in case you're wondering, this is the same creator that made the Fatties for Free Palestine t-shirt that I covered in a previous video. So let's get into this interview with Rosie. I don't want to say too much more. So we have Miss RoseyBeeme here, and why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Let's go way back to maybe even childhood, if you're open to discussing that.
Happy to. Yeah, I don't remember not being fat.
Me too.
I don't remember it. And I also remember like starting to realize pretty early on that that was like bad to be, and then like having that. And then I also don't remember like not being on a diet. Probably diet started when I was like 10 years old or something around that area. I would say, and it was like the 90s. So my mom didn't know what the hell to do. Everyone was getting the worst instruction possible. It was like, fat is bad. Anything baked is great. And eat that stuff in surplus. It was like food pyramid rules, you know?
Okay.
So I got free reign to things like goldfish crackers. And I remember eating like huge like popcorn bowls of those because I was insatiable as a kid. And just like having lots and lots of bread. Always, because it was like
all
that
the
was
grains.
okay. Yeah, that's okay. And I don't really have any resentment towards my family for that because I think that they were trying their best. You know what I mean? My mom was, I think people would call her like mid-size now. She was always kind of like dancing around a size 12 to 16 throughout my life. And she had gained weight post-pregnancy. So I was the only person in our family to be obese and to have like a roadmap with that. And I don't think that anyone had any idea what to do. And it was sort of like the quiet elephant in the room always throughout childhood. My sister has always been thin, never had an issue. She probably would tell you otherwise, but
her own can of worms to open somewhere else.
Yeah, but not anywhere near like the same type of like, I was the type of fat as a kid where I feel like adults like were like,
like what's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
So did you ever get put in like fat camp, or were like doctors ever like saying anything like they were concerned or anything about your weight growing up?
Yeah, doctors were concerned, no fat camp, but like there was a lot of like trying to get me to do sports, and I am like an indoor kid personality. I am a whimsical, like I still go on like loner walks. I don't really do well in competitive sports, and I don't really like that vibe. I'm such like that's just I have a creative energy. And I think that like I wanted to do like theater, but my parents were like, you're gonna do basketball.
Forcing you to get active.
Yeah, exactly. And trying to be like covert, I feel, about it. Just like, oh, everybody does sports. And everyone did. It would be like my entire grade doing it. But I was incredibly uninterested. Like a memory I have was just like clean plate club was important to my family. And I think that like my mom grew up very poor. I think that she just brought like a lot of the way that she was raised into us. So like I remember like she would make like cheesy potatoes as like a side and I fucking hated it. And she would make me like finish it. And like now as an adult, it's like that's like if your kid doesn't like that, they don't need to eat it, but like she would make me finish it just because it was like kids need to eat, they need to finish what we put on the plate. I think that I've always eaten for stimulus. What's great is that I'm with an awesome therapist right now, and she specializes in people that are post bariatric surgery and also ADHD.
Awesome.
And a lot of what I think I was doing was like I had undiagnosed ADHD, and it's a dopamine hit constantly,
Yes.
constantly. So, and it's funny because like when I have dopamine coming from elsewhere, like if I'm really interested in a book or like editing a video or whatever, I notice like, oh, it's been 4 hours and I haven't eaten those snacks. But if I don't have the stimulus near me, it's just like the food is such an easy hit of that.
Yeah, I always say that in my videos, like whenever I give recommendations of like weight loss tips or something, I'm like, you need to like get a life, like you need to have like a fucking hobby. And like I don't want to say like distract yourself, but it's like when I'm doing my little like new sewing projects, like I'm so focused on that I'm not thinking about like the snacks in the cupboard or anything.
I'm California sober for the most part, and I think I get asked a lot about like, or you like having the munchies all the time. I'm like, no, because I like play a video game whenever I have that at night. Or
Yeah.
like I'll start reading. I love reading after having a
I know
little
you're a
herbal.
big bookworm.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and like stupid stuff too. Like
So from childhood to like your early 20s, like what was going on there? Because I feel like I've seen some of your content talking about how you struggled with and stuff. Like I think maybe was that during like your college years?
college was I discovered, but I
Mhm.
didn't know it was. I thought it was math. I thought I was like I thought I gamed the system because
Mhm.
our like my college had like a brand new rec center and it was the first time I had seen this technology, so I'm dating myself, but
Mhm.
it was like an elliptical with a TV and it had cable access. So and they got like good cable. So I would every night go to the gym and I would watch like a block of cable TV, like 4 hours on
Oh
an
gosh.
elliptical. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, I have a Red Bull at 6 p.m. and I'm in the gym. I think I had always kind of been from like fifth grade, a size 16. Then in high school, I was a size 20. And
Mhm.
then I got up to like a size 24 in college. And this like little regimen that I was on
Yeah.
got me down to like a size 14, which I hadn't been as like an
Wow.
adult woman. And I felt skinny. It didn't feel like it was anything I was doing wrong. And I don't want to categorize it as like disordered, like as a disorder. I think it was
Mhm.
disordered. And I want to
Mhm.
like draw a line between the two because I think I could have stopped and not felt that need to like keep doing it. I just think that I was dumb.
Like you thought you found like a hack or something, like a life
Yeah.
hack.
I was
Mhm.
like, guess what?
Do you feel like over exercising when you were in college took away from anything else? Like did your grades start to slip or anything like with your relationships?
My grades were already in the hole at that point. Like at that point, I was like not going to class at all. I mean, this all goes, and this is a completely different story, but I was extremely sheltered as a kid all throughout
Okay.
high school. So like I think that going away to college was too much for me. So having the freedom to stay up late, having the freedom to talk to boys whenever I wanted, having the freedom to like get in my car, go anywhere, having the freedom to drink, having the freedom to do all this stuff was incredibly overwhelming in comparison to how sheltered I was. And it got to a point where like, oh, I would care so much about my social life that I just like would stay up all night, like messaging people or going to the bar or whatever. And then I would just sleep and not go to class. It's like, oh, whatever, I can turn this in, I can turn that in. Cause it was like I don't know what semester. I think that I bounced back and forth between college and like getting kicked out for grades and going to the local community college nearby, like just back and forth and back and forth. When I was at the university, I literally was just like hanging out at the dorms, going to the cafeteria, and then going to the
Mhm.
gym. I had a GPA, and I thought this was so funny, of 0.666.
Oh my god. I know your mom's religious too, so she probably couldn't stand that.
Yeah.
The college made my daughter demonic.
I know she
Mhm.
probably would say that today. And like
Mhm.
me even acknowledging that number is like, this is so funny to me would be a problem too.
So it kind of felt like it was just a little too much all at once, or just like too much freedom.
Yeah, it was too much freedom. And that's like there's like a couple things at odds in this because like my parents were way too sheltering of me and they thought they were doing
Mhm.
something beneficial for me. And then I had everything I think is like ADHD plays such a massive role. But then again, like I have a certain component of like personal responsibility. But
For
also
sure.
I fucking didn't know. I had no idea what was going on with
Yeah.
me. I was like, hell yeah, like this is the best life ever. And at first it was easy to cruise by because those early courses you take in school, like you don't have necessarily like an attendance that you have to fill in. You could just like roll it in your pajamas and like turn in
Mhm.
your paper and you're fine for the semester. And I think I took a lot of those up top. And I didn't have any overarching like goal that I was working toward. I think that my trajectory changed and I found a lot of like happiness. And this is so random, but I joined an improv troupe in a town over and I
Okay.
started doing like improv and sketch comedy. And I was like, oh, I love this. And I was a theater major in college. And at that time, it was really intense for me to receive feedback because they were very upfront about my body, like hindering me from like being an actor.
So you were a size 14 and that was still seen as too big in improv?
Yeah, not an improv, in a theater school,
Oh,
college
okay,
year
at the
setting, yeah.
college.
And it was so funny because, like, they wanted to crack you open and, like, really get deep with you, and I think that that's, like, so goofy. It's so theater kid, and,
They beat you
yeah,
down so then they could build you up or something?
yes, like, goofy stuff, and they wouldn't take you at face value, so I'm in these improv classes, I'm having so much fun, I'm starting to watch The Office is brand new, and I'm really inspired by, like, comedians in that world, so, like, people out of Chicago, people out of Second City, stuff like that. And it was really fun because I could see like these people's talent and ability, and it was really exciting to me. And during one theater class, we were being asked like what our career goals were. And I said, like, I really want to be a character actress, like a comedic foil. I don't really have interest in being a lead actor. I don't think romantic parts are interesting. And I also want to be like a writer slash
Mhm.
performer. And I was inspired by people like, like Mindy Kaling and Tina Fey, of course. My teacher in front of this like fucking auditorium of people is like, oh, I think that you just hate your body and you're too afraid to be a lead actress and you won't like put effort into your body. I think
What?
it was a different time to be a size 14. This is like 2007, you know?
Mhm.
And people were really aggressive about stuff like that. And people in the costuming department were also very unkind. They would be so annoyed if they had to make a bigger costume, which I don't know what the labor includes in that, but I just assume it's
Mhm.
more fabric and it's the same pattern but bigger. And so the costuming department was like, oh, I guess we have to make your costumes for this role and things like that. And I remember I was just like with one of these costume ladies and I was like, I am so done. And I went to like the registrar's office and I was like, I withdraw. Can I have like my money back for this semester? Because I'm not completing it. And I got the money back. And I was like, I told my parents, like, I want to move to LA and I'm going to treat acting classes in LA like it's my college because I don't think that like learning acting while I'm young, I'm like wasting my youth, which is like extremely valuable to be like on camera. And I
For
would
sure.
rather be in California, like not wasting my time. So I dropped out of college and I moved to LA, which was really cool.
So you experienced a lot of that phobia while in college, especially like when you were trying to pursue the theater degree?
I was not bullied in high school. I think that people thought I was funny and fun to be around and like a weirdo, but like I think they liked the things that I contributed in classes. And
Mhm.
I was like prom queen, like people
Mhm.
liked funny, weird kids at my school, and I was really lucky. But I was bullied in the most intense way in college. And by like
That's so
weird
crazy.
art girls. It made no fucking sense to me. I remember I was at a party, I passed out at a party. A group of girls took up my tights off from under my dress. On like my inner thighs, they wrote like I'm fat, like all over my legs. Yeah.
That literally sounds like a movie.
Yes, dude. It was like, and I couldn't read it, so I had to have like my roommate like look at my like basically my puss and like be like, oh, it says like I am fat, I'm a fat prostitute, like all this stuff. Like it was wild. And I thought I was like such a bad bitch. So I like made it my Facebook profile picture and like there was still an event invitation up online and like I posted everything in there and I was like, oh, who did thanks for the tattoo I got last night. Like if my tattoo artist wants to do more work, I'd love to hang out.
You're so funny for that.
Dude. And it's been a lot of therapy because I've had to like process that and be like, yo, that was trauma. Like you were assaulted.
It's like low-key kind of like assault, I feel like.
Yeah, it is assault. To be able to call it assault has like been life-changing for me because like I was like, oh, I was assaulted by like art girls at like a liberal arts college.
Yeah, you think that like that would be the safest place for you?
No, and I feel like I do not like trust like artsy looking women anymore because it's kind of crazy. I have like such a wall up in female relationships, I find, because of like the weird stuff. And so that was emblematic of something that happened. But there was like other smaller, you know, things like that. But that was kind of like the biggest peak of bullying that happened in college when people are like, oh, don't worry, you're going to go to college and find your people. But
that's what I was thinking, because I feel like high school is like usually when people get bullied the most, and then college it's like, okay, everyone's like trying to grow up and find themselves, so everyone's like a little bit weird, and that's when you experiment a little bit more. So it's crazy that that's like the time that you got bullied.
It felt like it was such like the era too, because I feel like people at liberal arts school at that time were like really into American Apparel, and like party photography was really big, and like it was such a weird, it was a small town in Texas called Denton, which is funny because there's like a lot of like, I think, fat influencers and like people who came out of that like bizarre like weird town.
That sounds kind of familiar, that
yeah.
town.
And if you're a Mountain Goats fan, which is one of my favorite bands, they have a song called The Best Ever Death Metal Band out of Denton. And Denton is like just a big arts, edgy scene in North Texas, or was at the time. I don't know what it is now. I loved it and I hated it because I simultaneously had really amazing experiences of independence and freedom and like doing my thing and figuring out like what I wanted to do in life. But then I had these like super traumatic experiences that were just like life altering in the same way.
For sure. So then around what age do you think you made it over to LA then?
I think I was 22, maybe.
Okay.
So like I was like past the point that I should have graduated, because I was definitely like a weird townie at some point, because I was like, I'm just gonna live in this town and party. And then I kept trying to have these false starts. It was it was 2011, because it was the year I should have graduated college. I think I had that like couple of last semesters, or for me it was just like starting again, you know. Moved to LA. I make sure that my apartment, and I shared a bedroom with a girl, so I paid $300 a month to share a bedroom with like the most, just like, this girl was like a real Disney adult. Like she had a bed with a bunch of like stuffed animals on it, and I shared a bedroom with her. But she was also an actress who was working, and she was out all the time, so it was great. It was like $300 rent. This girl was never there. And I was at the gym all the time. It was, oh my God, it was so fun. And then
still doing the same regimen kind of.
But then also doing all the comedy stuff. It was so much fun. I think I went through every single comedy program that you could go through. I did like Groundlings, UCB, Improv Olympic, which is not there anymore. And then I also coached on camera improvisation for children. And that was really, really fun because I got to hang out with kids that like went on to be stars and teach them how to improvise on camera and like just do alternative lines. So if the line was like, oh, I hate the way these shorts fit, it would be like, are you kidding me with this outfit? Just like alternate takes to like maybe get a funnier joke in. And that's what we would work on. And that was really fun. I also worked as like, odd jobs. So I worked retail, like Anthropologie, Lush, things like that. And then whatever in the industry gig I could get. So like I worked as like a personal assistant to somebody. I worked X, Y, and Z. And then I had a comedy partner and we made a few videos that went very viral.
Oh, really? Yes. On YouTube?
Yes, on YouTube. Don't look them up. They're fucking stupid. It was very like trailer parodies, stuff like that. Like it was always like we're
like white trash.
Yeah, like the girls' version of stuff. It was so like we did like a girls' version of like the Wolf of Wall Street trailer. And then the one that really popped off that we got media attention for was there was an enormous celebrity nudes leak. Like
it's from the iCloud, right?
Yes, it was like called the Fappening or something like that, like something silly. And we dressed as like kind of more rigid, like feminist types. So like I cut my hair into like a black bob and like tiny bangs, and I did like huge glasses, and then she kind of like roughed herself up, and we made this video of like a PSA of two nerdy women like advocating for more women to be in STEM so we could see more dick pics. It was like a huge, it's like a heavy-handed pitch, but it was really effective and it was really fun.
That's
And
funny.
it went so viral that we got a manager from this sketch.
Wow.
And then the manager like started taking us on dates to like massive companies. And we were both so up our own asses. We wanted like to get a TV show, you know? And the jobs that we were offered for like things that have gone on to be like in the zeitgeist that we turned down because we were like, oh, we don't want to work for somebody else. It's like embarrassing. It's one of them is Drag Race that we could have written for. And
wow.
like,
Aren't you like kicking yourself in the ass now?
absolutely. Because it would have been like what, like 2012, something like that, 2012, 2013. Like, so like the type of talent that like was on at that point would have been like 𝓌𝒾𝓃𝒾𝓃, who I like love now.
That's
And
so funny.
It's goofy, but I mean everything works out like as it should. And I'm a firm believer in that because I've had so many like crazy ups and downs. But finally got a show because at this point people had placed a lot of value in streaming networks. This was like when Netflix started having its own original content, and then like the streaming race kind of started to begin. So there were all these companies that started that like are now dead, you know. So like we got approached by a company called Geek Nation. I don't think I signed anything when I exited, so I can probably say all of this. We signed with a company called Geek Nation, and they were trying to do like edgy comedy with like kind of a nerdy comic booky sort of focus. And it was run by an actress who had like kind of done a lot of work in the 90s as a guest star. So she played villains on like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and like other sci-fi, like paranormal fun stuff. And they specifically were looking for edgy female comedy in vein of like Broad City or Girls. So like that's what they pitched. And we pitched a TV show that was going to be like Pee-wee's Playhouse for young women in their 20s. And we were gonna have puppets. Yeah, we were gonna have puppets, and we were gonna do like we do something like really topical each time. So like there was an episode that we did that was about men's rights activists, and we called them Ben's rights activists. And it was all these guys like trying to advocate for the rights of this one man named Ben, who was just a guy in the neighborhood. And we had like puppets on the show. So we had a cat named like Sluts the Cat, who sort of would advocate for us to do like really like slutty things, and we would just listen to the cat. And
yeah, not a cat.
Like, it's crazy. It does not exist. I dedicated like a year of my life to this. We weren't like working paying jobs. She might have been my writing partner. We don't have a relationship anymore. She is a famous content creator now.
Is like an influencer or like a spicy one?
She's an influencer. She's an
okay,
influencer.
Cool.
She's in the food world. So I feel like her identity is more like kind of showing the restaurants and stuff like that, and less like you wouldn't know like her. Some people probably are a fan of her, but I don't know if.
But not like face forward.
Yes, exactly. Okay. She's very successful. I loved this show so much. I thought it was so much fun. The amount of people that we had on the show that also went on to be extremely famous people was ridiculous because we were just pulling from the comedy community at the time. So I hate being a name dropper, so I won't be.
So none of this saw the light of day, or was it just on that Geek?
Never saw the light of day. I think they might have ran it like online, like on their page, but they kept telling us like, we will pay you and we will launch the platform when we launch the platform, and we will launch the platform when we get advertisers. So I was working like, you know, legitimate hour weeks. I didn't have time for another gig. This was like 6 months to a year of my life. And I was like dirt broke. I think I was just like so unhealthy because like I was like hanging out with / kind of dating a guy who was like a real big gym bro, and he was like super into keto. And I was doing like not keto, but still eating tons of keto food. Like you can't like half-ass keto. You have to like commit. Otherwise
you're full
just like,
India.
Yeah, you can't like eat a couple of pieces of bread and then you're like, but then I'm gonna drink butter, you know? Like it's not gonna work. And so I think my hormones were all wacky. I think that like there was like so much going on. I was so mentally ill from like all of this. And then my writing partner and I had like a falling out as friends. And it was really rough. And so I just moved home to Texas to my parents' house. And I just started working retail at 𝒻𝒾𝓂𝓁𝓁. That was like my saving grace. Just like clocking in every day and like just talking to normal people and not like being in the Hollywood like machine of like constantly worrying about like a huge thing. Cause like I'm gonna round it back to weight now. Something that I heard
Yeah.
a lot from my managers was like, you aren't fat enough to be the fat girl and you're not skinny enough to be like a normal girl. And during this process too, I was auditioning for huge things. Like when you get like a manager from like going viral, you get to go out for huge things. And it was kind of like I went to the HBO office a lot. They really liked me there. I loved going on auditions. And I was on hold for a few movies that were like, it was between me and one other girl. So like that was
Wow.
like so exciting. It was like, but at the same time, like I was so mentally ill. Things were going so badly. I had to go home. Like I couldn't like live on this dream of like, maybe this could work out. While this was all happening, the people at the network were like, hey, you need to get advertisers. And I took a course on Instagram marketing because I was like, I'm going to grassroots market this show if no one else
Oh, wow.
is. And then the course was like really more for like being an influencer. And this is like so long ago. So like, I was like, what is this? And then I started using my own account as like a dummy. And I think I grew my account to like 2,000 to 5,000 while I was still in Los Angeles. And then when I moved home to Dallas and I was working retail, I was getting clothes on discount. I had a nice camera because I was taking headshots to earn money on the side in LA. And I also wanted that camera for shooting sketch. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to compile all this into
no, keep going.
a cohesive story. I saw accounts, and I feel like one of the first influencer accounts that I saw was probably like Noelle Downing or Rachel Martino, and then like Ellen Blair Fowler. I loved those girls. And I was just like, oh, I want to do this because I love performing on camera and I love retail. I get so excited to find things for people. It's so much fun, and it makes me feel like I'm doing something impactful for other people when I find them a cute outfit. And at the time I was like size 16, and it was exciting to be at Anthro, and I would see a bigger woman come in and I'd be like, I know exactly what'll work for you in here. Like they didn't have plus sizes yet. So I was just like, this dress, these pants.
Yeah, but this one will be a little bit more stretchy and like it'll work for you and stuff. Yeah.
And that was like my game. And I think that at some point, I forgot, I saw some interview with some influencer and they said something like, if you have like 100,000 followers, you can count on making that much a year.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, what? I gotta like treat this seriously. So I think a lot of people who say like they get into the industry, like, oh, I don't know, like people just followed me and I like showing my outfits. Like I was like, no, I want to make money. And I saw quite a few girls who looked like me, and I was like, oh, if they can do this, I can do this.
Yeah,
like,
it seems like a perfect combination of, because I feel like people probably won't take this as seriously, but it's like you do have to have some sort of like, I don't want to say like acting experience, but it's like you need to be able to be comfortable on camera to be like a successful influencer. And since you have that from like the comedy and the improv and like all the trying out stuff, and then you're like your TV show, and then plus like the retail fashion, it's like you got all of this experience to be successful at like a very niche like internet job of being like a content creator or plus size influencer.
I feel like a lot of people, especially kind of like, I would consider myself like a second gen of influencer. I can't wait to like be old and the archivists will like publish books about this, because I think it'll be more interesting to look at it from a factual perspective, because I know that there were people who were already established and earning income. I had a group of people to look at as a blueprint whenever I started.
Yeah. There was like more traditional bloggers probably when you started, and then like Instagram started to turn more into like where influencers are going.
Oh, I know exactly when I started to succeed was when they introduced stories. And a lot of people weren't getting on and speaking to camera. And I think that's why I built up a following pretty rapidly, is because I had that like ability. I think improv is honestly a skill that I would recommend to anyone, because I think it makes you great at like bullshitting and great at job interviews. Ever since taking an improv class, I got hired for every job that I interviewed for. Like, and
it probably makes you very charismatic and like good on your feet.
Yeah. So if anybody wants like a random skill in their tool belt that like comes out as impactful in every aspect of your life, I would recommend doing improv. And I think that building stories was great. I think I was coming at it from a perspective, I didn't really understand like body positivity, but I understood like hey, I'm this size and I think it's challenging to find clothes for me at this point, and I'm really good at it. And I know how to find clothes like where you wouldn't necessarily think you could shop.
Yeah,
And
you were kind of trying to fill like a hole
yeah,
in like the like influencer or like plus size community.
and I don't think I aspired to be like a lot of the like fat influencers because I think at the time some of them did like seem a little radical to me and a little
When do you think this
scary.
was? Like, I'm trying to think of when people started posting on stories.
I'll tell you when. Spring summer 2017 because I met my
Okay.
husband around the same time. I think of that as like the my mind anchor.
Mhm. Yeah, body positivity started to, I feel like it started to pick up around then.
Yeah, and I think that like while we're having this discussion, I'll tell you what my perception of body positivity is because I think a lot of people have different perceptions. So
Hmm.
I was on Tumblr and I knew body positivity as this like very leftist radical thing that had its roots in like fat acceptance. Like I knew it as that. And then I think that like the majority of people presently see it as like the stuff that came from like the social media like boom of it in like 2019 as like it's just about loving your body. So when I have public conversations presently and I'm like I am not body positive, I don't believe in body positivity, I get so much pushback from people being like, girl, body positivity is just about loving yourself, because I think they have that like very watered down Dove soap perspective
Hmm.
of what body positivity is, and I think that a lot of people find it hard to understand that I am trying to push away like the radical stuff
So
associated with
when
it.
you were on Tumblr and in body positivity, it felt probably more like current day fat acceptancy.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And then I think that on Tumblr, because it was such like a visual platform, it was that like married with fashion. So it was like kind of the beginning of like F your beauty standard stuff and like wearing a crop top, like what a
Mhm.
statement and stuff
What
like
would
that.
you say was like the type of content that was on Tumblr at the time? Were we just thinking like fat rolls or like or people telling like fat phobia stories and like in like a blog post that's like 17 paragraphs long?
And also, I don't think I engaged with stuff like that either. I
Hmm.
think I would see if I saw stuff like that, I was like, whatever, I don't care. I think I
Yeah.
just like wanted to see like the looks. So I engaged with like, you
More
know,
fashion stuff.
more fashion stuff. Absolutely. But then I think
Hmm.
certain things would like come around and like resonate. Especially when I was like single, hearing stories about like dating as a fat person were obviously extraordinarily resonant because it hit an emotional like string inside me.
Yeah, that's what was one of my questions. I was gonna ask, do you feel like being a plus size influencer forced you to become body positive or like in fat acceptance?
Yeah, yes and no. I think that like I was intrigued by the I can look good anyway. And then
Hmm.
I deserve like basic human respect. And I don't deserve to be like turned into a fetish. I think those kinds of elements of it were interesting to me. Where things got dicey really early on, that like I felt like I was forced to communicate in a specific way, was when I started having a little bit more visibility online. I would say like under 10,000 followers, but like a decent following. I
And this
remember.
is like 2017, you think?
Mhm, absolutely.
Okay.
This was like before, because I also know when things started changing for me, and I'll get to that in a second in terms of like rapid growth. But I think I still had enough eyes on me that I had a following and I was being presentational as an influencer. And then I also felt free to express myself in a more authentic way
Hmm.
before like a lot of these people kind of like got into my ear. Around this time, because I was working retail, then I quit my job to like go hard on this.
Hmm.
And what I'm a little different because my husband was so supportive of me. He was just my boyfriend at the time. He saw like how rapidly I was growing, how things were turning around, and like I was earning stuff. And he was like, if you treat this like a 9 to 5, you can live with me. You just have to contribute. So I quit my retail job. And so I was not on my feet. I was not on my feet clocking 20,000 steps a day. And I had
Hmm.
always maintained like a size 14, 16. And I kind of went up to an 18, 20.
Really
I
quick
shared,
since you
yeah,
were at home. Okay.
so fast because I was at home, like sitting on the computer, like doing Gary V's like formula of like, oh, you're going to comment on all these accounts that are just like yours. You're going to search this hashtag that's relevant to your account. And like all these types of early days, like growth mindset stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like thumbing through it. And then I think I got another job briefly at like a call center. And I did it honestly to like be a time thief because I took the night shift and nobody was calling during the night shift. And so I had a computer and I was just doing Instagram stuff at night,
Mhm.
like while getting paid. So I did that briefly during this time as well. So I said one day, I think it sucks that only thin women get to lose 5 to 10 pounds or 20 pounds after the holidays because they want to change their looks. And while I don't think that like I can be skinny, I can definitely monitor my weight so it meets an aesthetic that I'm more comfortable with. And so I don't want to be a size 20. I want to go back to being a size 16. And I said this like on my stories. I don't think it was, maybe I said it in a post. I don't remember.
You and these damn stories. We'll get into it later, but the stories are what get you in trouble, Rosie.
Dude, I don't, it's so stupid. The stories, I think it's because I feel like so candid and I have so much fun in stories because I get that like kind of immediate feedback and get to have fun conversations, but then also people like lose their damn mind. A woman rolled into my DMs who hosted a bunch of like Facebook groups this woman was such a hypocrite because she literally had Facebook groups about weight loss, but they were secret because she thought that like you shouldn't broadcast that you want to lose weight. Like she thought that was like, you know, problematic or whatever word.
As if hiding your deepest desires isn't toxic.
Yeah, come on. And she was like, hey, just so you know, I've had to comfort 5 girls who saw this post and you are really harming people. And I think you need to like not discuss this stuff because and then this is the first time I saw like IWL, intentional weight loss, like used. And she's like, you should not discuss intentional weight loss. And I think that I cared so much about not hurting people.
And this is like 2018-ish.
Yeah, it was still 2017. It's like fall 2017. Okay. It really upset me. Like I cried and I felt bad. Like I felt like I was hurting people's feelings and I didn't understand how like me wanting to like do something simple could like really hurt people. And she basically explained that like I had a responsibility with a platform and that I was harming people actively. And like it really, I was very easily manipulated. And I wish I had a stronger sense of self-confidence. And because like now I'd be like, fuck you. Or I like wouldn't even, I wouldn't even like respond because anything that you do for yourself shouldn't impact other people. It should.
For sure.
It shouldn't have anything to do with anyone else's. And if they are, they have no sense of self-confidence, period. That made me really scared. And I also thought I immediately internalized it because I do have a big self-blaming issue. And I've since you know, changing my life, I feel like that's something that's been a massive like win for me. But I really took it to heart immediately. And I was like, I can't step out of line again. I can't talk about this. And then I started seeing materials of like any intentional weight loss is bad. It's inherently cruel to other people. It's inherently, you know, racist, sexist, misogynist, like whatever. It's all the things, you know, they bring together all these other marginalized things that they think web out from the desire to lose weight. And the proliferation of like having messaging related to weight loss is inherently like harmful to other communities who are already in positions of vulnerability, which is you know that we agree on this.
Yeah.
And I just think that like, but I was at a place where I think I was just so conscientious of harming other people and beginning to understand like what having a platform was and the responsibility of it, that I took it to heart deeply and immediately started like reading all the materials that you're supposed to read, that they're always like, do the work. I started doing the work.
It feels like sometimes like the fat acceptance, body positivity will weaponize like our womanly nature against ourselves. It's because it's like, I mean, I know this is like stereotyping and whatever, but it's like, you know, women usually don't want to ruffle people's feathers and they usually want to make sure that people feel seen and comforted. So it's like when you get messages like that, that's like, oh, you're harming 5 people. It makes you feel like a fucking horrible person because it's like, there's just something like innate in like a woman usually where it's like, you want to care for other people. You want to help other people. So to like think that you are harming other people by just existing or like wanting to take care of yourself just like puts you through like such a fucking mental roller coaster. And then it also doesn't help with like the fat acceptance stuff where they talk about like, well, fat phobia is rooted in racism, ableism, misogyny, xenophobia, blah, blah, blah. So then it's like, okay, well, like now I just hurt 5 people's feelings. And now I'm also, people also think I'm fucking like racist, ableist, and blah, blah, blah. So it's like you get stuck in such a sticky situation. And I think until like you fucking had enough, it's like then that's when you stop caring about what all these people think. Like it took me forever to get to that point where I'm just like, you guys are like a bunch of fucking baloney. Like I'm just need to take care of myself. That has no reflection on anyone else.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think something else that weighs into it too, and why it's easy to fall into these like fat acceptance corners, is that, and I've always thought this, being like a fat person, particularly a fat kid, is a really odd experience, because I think I'm trying to figure out other like life situations that would have a similar outcome, but it's a strange existence, because your classroom bullies and your doctor and maybe even your parents all agree about something about you. And I think that like with other things, it's really easy to be like, oh, you're not ugly. Oh, you don't have weird hair. But then you get the affirmation of like, you are fat. And like you start to internalize that like you deserve cruelty. And then I think that it's easy from that point forward to say, fuck my doctor, in the same way that you say, fuck my bullies. And I think that that leads to a lot of the like isolation tactics of this community. Because
yeah, you just start to isolate anyone that starts to point out like what is wrong with you, quote unquote, even though it might be like genuine concern.
Yeah, because it all feels the same, especially the deeper you go into these like body positive spaces. I found myself becoming more and more reactive and defensive and hiding from people who were well-intentioned.
Or you just stop going around people that you feel like might say something, or like you just hide in different corners of the internet that you know will help enable your bad behaviors.
I even took things as simple as like, I had a couple of friends who were like, do you want to go on a walk with me? I was like, they want me to go on a walk because I'm fat. And they're like, this is like covert, like them trying to get me to exercise. And this isn't an authentic friendship. Like everything became like, oh my God, somebody's trying to get me. And that's like a dangerous place to exist in, and like constantly being on like high alert and vigilant. And it's like not a healthy mindset to exist in at all.
People don't like that I say this, but it feels like sometimes when you're in fat acceptance, it almost makes you feel like you have like paranoid schizophrenia. Like it's like you get so paranoid about everything, and then like you even start to like create like, I don't want to say like delusion, but it's like you kind of get delusional, or you're like you'll read into something so deeply that doesn't even like you'll think that something's fat phobic, but it's not, and then like you just start to like your mind is like going all of the time, and like honestly at some points like literally creating a different reality. Like
yes, 100%. And it's interesting because like sometimes some things can be true, and then sometimes things are like completely made up. So like it can be true that like I went someplace in public and somebody oinked at me. That is something that happened. But then there are things where it's like, oh, that woman looked at me weird when I came in here. Maybe I don't know, maybe she saw someone behind me. I don't know. Like it doesn't all mean the same thing.
yeah.
But I think like when you are deep into this fat acceptance world, it all is the same high alert, like the same level of like trauma and fear.
For sure. So do you feel like you kind of like slipped into fat acceptance and body positivity then, just by like association, or just like by being a plus size influencer?
Yeah, by being a plus size influencer, because I think around that time was when campaigns and companies started using body positivity in their messaging. I was a really commercial focused influencer. In the body positive community, fat acceptance community, we're a little too edgy for big brands.
For sure.
And when I first started, my goal was to make it a business. So I was like pretty clean. Like I didn't cuss a lot. I really tried to manage things. And I think that like having an awareness of media in general from my past in Los Angeles, I knew how to market myself and I knew how to make myself more commercial. So
and you're very aesthetically based. I feel like a lot of times in fat acceptance, it's just like a shit post with like a paragraph and like someone's fat rolls, and it's like, dude, that's not brand appropriate, or like people aren't gonna want to work with people that post shit like that.
And I did a little bit of that, like during the pandemic, because that shit's easy. Like that shit is easy.
It's easy views.
You know, I think that's like why half of these people do it. Like is it's easy as shit to keep talking about your body. Oh, you don't know what to post today? Take a picture of yourself in the mirror and talk about how you had confidence to go outside and be yourself, or like how you wear the crop top, because that stuff would rocket. it would just rocket. But I was really focused on like looking like a catalog in this business. And because I wanted the, you know, when I quit my job in anthropology, I was like, the next time I'm working with anthropology, it's going to be as a model, you know, like I had all these like ambitions. I mean, it happened. And
you modeled for them?
Yeah. Not well in campaigns.
Yeah. Well, that's still so cool.
Yeah. I think the biggest gig I got that was like the most close to like modeling and stuff like that was for JCPenney. I had a year-long partnership with them. They selected, I think, like 7 of us as ambassadors, and they flew us to LA. They shot a commercial that like ran and was also on, they had like screens in the stores. And so it was like 5 of us. I don't even remember everybody that was on it. I know Ashley Dureau was on it, and she was never too radical either. I think where things get dicey is like you get in rooms with people just like by body type. And then you start making friendships with people that you maybe wouldn't like have made friends with. But by being invited to events that are body focused, like CurvyCon or like X, Y, and Z, I then like met a lot of people that like, I love seeing you roast now, because as crazy as a lot of them are on screen, oh baby, they are 10 times more bananas off.
Oh, really? You think they dial it down for social media?
Absolutely. Isn't that insane? Like, God, I think that this is where you need to like, everyone, go to the Patreon for this portion of the conversation. On a more like basic but insidious level, being in these rooms with these plus size influencers was so eye-opening, because all they were doing was clocking each other's bodies. They've lost weight, they've had this work done, they're working for this person. It was the most unsupportive, mean girl environment I've ever been in. And during this time, it's also fashion week. So I'm going to events with like standard size influencers. And I immediately would feel comfortable around them, because it wasn't this fucking nastiness, like clocking each other's chin. Oh, she's got a flat tummy, but a big butt and big boobs. So like she's being cast for this company and they won't have me because I don't have the right kind of fat. It was just like girls who were kind to me, and like it just wasn't nasty. It was a very unsupportive, gross environment, like by comparison to just being around other influencers.
I say that a lot in my videos too. It's like a majority of my like closest friends, they're like healthy weights or normal weights. And it's like, I have never heard them say anything nasty about like a fat person or a plus size woman. They have never said anything to me, even when I was 100 pounds heavier. But it's like, there's like just some fat women. If someone gains fucking 5 pounds, they clock it within like 1 second.
Yeah.
I feel like the plus size women are harsher to other plus size women than like healthy weight women are to plus size women. And they like to act like the healthy weight women are fat phobic.
I don't feel like it was a supportive environment in any way. I think it stressed me out. I finally just like butthole unclenched, just hanging out with skinny girls and going to the bar. I went to like one, I think it was like a Gillette event that I was like, I don't really want to go to this. I'm afraid of being around skinny people, because I was afraid of skinny people. Yeah. And then immediately I go to this event and I like get drunk and talk about The Bachelor with these girls. And it was so like just talking about normal stuff. Like those relationships have gone on, you know, and they're not gatekeepery. Oh God, so many people like wouldn't even share a brand contact with you. You had to like trade and be like, can I have this email? I have met so many generous, thin influencers who are like, oh, you want to talk to my manager? You want to talk to my Amazon guy? You want to like hang out with like my fucking accountant? Like everything is so like, we care about sharing information and uplifting other women. And I just felt like there was such a scarcity mindset among fat people.
For sure.
Because you had to be the right kind of fat. And then maybe they would have room for like a size 24 girl, and that's going to be me, and it's not going to be you. Like I had friends in that industry. I told somebody about like a campaign, and then she reached out and like pitched something else and pitched something like blah, blah, blah. And then they went with her.
She stole a campaign from you?
Yeah. And then she said something to me, and I like, this is so dicey because like I can't believe I'm sharing this, but like this is real dicey. She was like, I just served it up on a platter for them. Like she like
Okay, what is this? The Devil Wears Prada or something?
I think that like a lot of people like had egos that they thought like that's what I think this era of the fat influencer, like when like Old Navy was launching and like all
Mhm.
these things were like launching like extended sizes in stores pre-pandemic. I think that a lot of these people had majorly inflated egos, probably myself included. I'm not gonna like free myself from that because
For sure.
it was exciting. It was an exciting time monetarily. And then I think that like when you make your body your business, you start being fearful about like losing things. And I think that's why the people who I think you guys critique so effectively in this YouTube world, I think that's why there are still people who haven't disbanded yet because they've tied their income to their fatness way too much. I feel very lucky because I was always, as you said, like aesthetic forward, fashion forward, and even like home decor and like my personal interests always shown through. And I feel really very lucky that I didn't go too far down fat roll town. Because
Mhm.
I think that
That
would have,
rolled down roly-poly town.
I did a little, you know, you got to do a little to keep the girls
Mhm.
interested. And then all the men from other countries that follow you, which you might have some awareness of. But
I
I,
think what separates you from them is I literally had an identity crisis when I was leaving fat acceptance because when you are in fat acceptance, you make your fatness like a core part of your personality. So, I mean, I was never like as big as like a fashion influencer as you, but I would like post fashion stuff every once in a while and stuff on TikTok and Instagram. But it's like I just got so sick of being like plus size outfit of the day, plus size fashion, plus size whatever. And it's like, and it just starts to become your identity. So then when I wanted to be known as like Angelica
yeah,
instead of like plus size influencer, fat lady, it's like you start to be like, who the fuck am I even made a YouTube video about this on my like regular channel probably like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, but I was just like I was so sick of just being pigeonholed and like being seen as like plus size or fat. And I feel like since you never like, I don't know, like niche down to just being like a fat influencer, you were able to like separate more easily than like all these other people.
I think you are right. I think that's a very kind observation. But I also behind the scenes was leaving body positivity in the tiniest ways possible before announcing it. At one point, maybe during the pandemic, because I was making things for TikTok that were like pop culture
Mhm.
breakdowns of like characters in movies that we were told were fat that aren't actually fat people and things like
Mhm.
that. And then I was in fat roll post crazy during the pandemic because I wasn't getting any work. So I was like, let's just try and get the views. But after pandemic, and I know you have this when we talked about questions, because I was like, I want this to come up organically. But I worked with a therapist, I would say for 2 years, planning an exit strategy from being a plus
Wow.
size fat acceptance person before I publicly said anything. Because I was afraid specifically of Carissa because Carissa was already like so intense about like calling people out. I talked about Carissa so much in therapy and it was just crazy that like Carissa and her partner were the people that called me out like as hard as they did because it was like I had planned for them to do that. Like,
You're like, I have this down in my therapy notes. This is going just as planned, actually.
yeah, no, my therapist I think early on was like, "Well, who are you afraid of?" And I listed like maybe 2 or 3 people and Carissa was one of them because like I saw her as somebody who could like turn a horde of angry people onto other people.
That's
And
nuts.
I also became friends with these people on like Facebook. And like I was in Facebook groups with people and I was in group chats with people. And I feel like that's where you got to see the true disordered behavior and the like
Mhm.
kind of, you know, mean, evil. I say evil because it felt like people like would run full on like smear campaigns on people is how it felt. I think what's so funny is that like and we'll get in I'll reiterate this as we get into it because I'm going out of order, but the things that I pay attention to that really illuminated body positivity as a cult to me were these like phrases that they would all say. So if you leave body positivity, what are the things they say? They say nobody hates the fact that you're losing weight. Nobody cares that you lose weight. They just care how you talk about it. That's bullshit. They all talk about each other's bodies constantly, consistently. It is
Mhm.
a major topic of discussion. And people DM you about it. If are you going to talk about your weight loss? There would be people in Facebook groups saying like, I really wish X, Y, and Z person would acknowledge their weight loss because they are pretending that it's not happening. But if you acknowledge it, then you're also a piece of shit. Like they don't.
Well, why did you intentionally lose weight?
Yeah. they care. So, like, it is very hard for me to hear these blanket statements of like, nobody cares that you lost weight, because they do. And that is like such a gaslighting phrase that they use to keep people trapped, because they care deeply if you lose weight. They do. And there are other things like that they will try and devalue your perspective. They'll say, well, you just didn't do the work. You're looking at like a card carrying fat acceptance person who like read the texts, listened to the podcast, try to unpack all of my other connected and associated prejudices. I cared so freaking much about being perfect. You know, I wanted to be the most perfect person. And I think at some point, the thing that broke it, that I was like, I cannot live this way, was when I started to realize that my personal pleasures in life that I liked offline, that were unrelated to making money or showing fashion or getting followers or views or whatever, those pleasures in life were starting to be taken away from me. So I think that my husband took me to a Christmas theater performance that like, there was also going to be a performance of She and Him. And it was like very cool. It was like at a theater. And I was so excited. I like got a cute Christmas dress and all this. And we went to this theater, and they were performing at like a college theater in Texas. It was so like random and cute. It was like a Christmas pageant that they were going to do. And I love the performing arts. It's how I met my husband. It's like where my passion is still. And we went, I couldn't sit in a chair. And I was like, I can't live my life like this, because what is the point of working and like exposing yourself online to earn money if you can't use that money to experience pleasures in life? There's no point. I think I like broke down. Like I had a full fat girl fit. So happy that people weren't filming people during that, because I feel like I threw my shoe. I feel like I like sat down in the, not where you buy tickets, where you get like concessions, maybe like just like a reception area before you get.
Yeah.
I like sat down on the ground and like threw my shoe on the floor. And I was
threw like a toddler tantrum.
Yeah. I threw a full fat baby fit. But what I'm happy about was that it wasn't like, oh, the chair, fuck these people. It was, I can't believe I did this to myself. It was such a big, like,
you were like, fuck me, not fuck them.
Yeah, it was. And it was great. I think I needed to have that like moment of like, you have fucked up your life in the name of like not getting in trouble with these other girls. Because I think that like the more, they really do think that the more impaired you are, the more like privilege and status you hold within this community. Like
they do. That's a part of the fat categories or fat spectrum or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought about all these things, and I was afraid that even my husband would be like, think I wasn't a good person. You know, like that's how like intense I had gotten involved, because it seemed like he cared about me. He cared about like everything I stood for. And he thought that like what I was doing for other women, because you get messages being like, I used to hate myself, but until I saw you, now I love myself. And those types of things, like you feel a lot of personal responsibility for other people. You feel like you impact them. And I think that I thought like that I was going to harm so many people by making a positive choice for myself.
Well, I mean, you hurt those 5 women when you only had 10K followers. What's going to happen now that you have like, what, 500,000?
Yeah. I really thought that I would cause people to like, I don't know, like, I really like turn on themselves. I think that
it really makes you feel like that.
Yeah. And they think that like the powers that be, like the loudest, most insane voices in that community, will make you feel like that. And even if you're like kind of exiting quietly, they will attack you. And so my first strategy in exiting that my therapist and I came up with was I was going to stop using the body positive hashtag. So I kept making my content, and I took away things like body love, body positivity. I even stopped using plus size a lot. Now I'm fine with it because it's just like true. Like I don't care. But I would just like show the same outfits and not have the narrative. And the narrative, like the captions would say things like, had a great tea, had a great day, you know, love this new dress from Anthropologie, love this new Old Navy dupe, whatever.
Did your therapist have a hard time? Is it a woman or a man?
Yeah, woman.
Did she have a hard time wrapping her head around how absolutely batshit crazy this is? Because I feel like everyone like that isn't part of this community is like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yes. And it was nice to have a woman who was intelligent that I respected, because whenever my peers and friends from my like local community would kind of express like distress and like surprise even at like how intense this community was, I just thought, oh, they're problematic. They're haters. They are fat phobic. This is internalized fat phobia, because the insidious aspect of body positivity is that it creates this sense that like everyone is evil around you and wants the worst for you, and you are a victim and everyone is trying to hurt you. And if you haven't lived these experiences, then you are so privileged and so hurtful and harmful of others. To meet a woman whose business was to care for others, and she even did a lot of like pro bono work, wonderful woman. To meet a woman who was so caring and intelligent and successful and more mature than I, who always encouraged me to do more activism, but not this type of activism, or like,
Yeah.
you know, she was like, you should be donating your clothes, not reselling them, and things like that. Like, you know, she really instilled a lot of like ethics in my work as an influencer that like weren't as present before. For her to be like, these people are off their rocker, was substantial for me. She did not hold space for them at all. She thought of what they were doing as cult-like, and she's worked with people who have left cults, and she was very firm, like, this is unhealthy behavior, and these people are seeking to control other people, period. And that's what it is.
I'm glad that your therapist was able to like also realize how crazy they were, because I feel like unless you're on your way out of the community, it's hard to realize like how crazy these people are. Like I remember when my situation started going viral, I sent my husband the video because he was at work. He works like a manual labor job and he just hangs out with like dudes all day. And then he was like showing his coworkers and everyone was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is this person like so batshit crazy? And like, why did they care that Angelica wants to lose weight? Like, if you're not in this world, it's just like, you can't believe people care about other people's bodies so much.
I would go on these like walks that my therapist told me to go on, and I would literally look at people on the street and be like, this person has no idea what an infinifat is. That makes they don't know. They have no idea. They have no idea that like I'm a mid-fat, and that means that like I need to be respectful of death fats or whatever the fuck, and like small fats are evil. Like they have no, like it's not a concept to these people, and that normal people also are like, oh, I put on some weight during the holidays and I want to fit into my clothes, so I'm going to lose a little weight. Like all of this stuff is just so deeply online, and not even like, I think you could probably find it if you're in a weird like small community in like Portland or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just so niche and specific, but it feels like it's everything. It really does. It's scary.
I remember when I was going viral, I remember like, this is when Tui was still alive, but like we were going for a walk and like I left my phone at home and I was like, wow, like none of that on the internet matters. Or like, look, I'm touching grass. Like no one's yelling at me in real life. It's just like on TikTok comments that people are mad at me.
Yeah, I saw something today that was like, it was just like a clip of Pete Davidson talking about the best thing he learned from Kim Kardashian. And he was like, Kim is like bulletproof because she literally just goes out into town and forgets that people are talking about her on the internet. And it just doesn't even come to her mind. And I would do things like that. I would go look up like any celebrity's name on like Twitter and look up like how much people hated them. And that would make me feel like good. And I know that you actively do not like Taylor Swift, and that's funny because I do like engaging with people that don't like Taylor Swift. I think it's actually hilarious, and I'm a weird Swiftie because I think all of that content is so fucking funny. Like I'm here for the music, but I also am a fan of Taylor Swift, and that to me the reason why I like her is that she's an evil businesswoman, and I think that that's funny. And I think that other people are like using that as a reason to not like her, and I'm like, oh, that's what I enjoy. And I think I was listening to like the Reputation album all the time because during this time I needed to like feel like I was a villain and that it was cool to be a villain. So I had to like create like a mental facade of like, no matter what people say about me, it's fine. Which is so funny because everything that I did was so in vein of being as protective and kind to the people that followed me as possible. My therapist was like, you know that you are healed when you feel safe enough to make a post on your main grid that doesn't expire, that tells people the truth about how you feel. And I wrote that post, I think, when I got back from my honeymoon, because I didn't even feel comfortable on my honeymoon. I had a horrible experience as planning my wedding and becoming a bride because like it was just, I didn't like the body that I was in and I felt so physically uncomfortable. I had to like pretend like Yas Queen, like whatever garbage while feeling miserable the whole time. And when I got back from the honeymoon, I like made a post on Maine and I was just like, hey, just so you guys know, I have plans to lose weight If that resonates with you, feel free to stay. If that feels harmful to you, I give you permission to like leave and not make it a huge deal. If that makes you upset or uncomfortable, I'm so sorry. I don't seek to do this, but like I'm at a point where my life is really impacted by this in a negative way. And I only am doing this for like my health. I'm not trying to hurt anyone. And I don't think that like fat people are worse than skinny people. And I'll never post a before and after picture. And I'll never like do any of this stuff. And it was like the vitriol that I got from like the kindest posts, where I also was like, it's important for me to disclose what I'm doing because I don't want to hide things from you. People were so cruel. Like it was unreal. On the post, very supportive, but like my DMs, insane, crazy.
Wow.
So mean. And I think that people were scared of like, because I'm so happy that the first comments were all so supportive, because I think that sometimes
it sets the tone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that some people get afraid to like jump in with like a rude take or like whatever, because of like how much positivity is there. And I think that there were some people who were just like unfollowing because they want you to know that you like,
and that's so crazy that they were DMing you though. It's like they're so bothered.
They are. And that's why I get so pissed whenever I hate the common phrase of like, no one cares that you lose weight, because at that time, I did everything right. And I did everything that the way that they claim we should be doing it, like disclosing what you're doing, being honest, letting people decide where they want to spend their money, letting people decide how they want to support you. I was disclosing, being fully honest. And I cared about the ethics of that so much. And it was crazy. That's when I think that people like Carissa started monitoring me, started monitoring everything I was saying. Because if I didn't like live up to this like ethical, like weight loss seeking, boom, I would hear about it. And I heard about it in little ways, and people would pick apart the tiniest things I said, the tiniest turns of phrases. You know, if I was to show myself exercising, don't get me started on things like this, because the body positive community at one point didn't even say exercise. They said joyful movement, which I think is like ridiculous, how they just like make up words. And they're like, yeah, we decided that this word now is deeply offensive. And so we're going to create another word that means the same thing, but it's our creation. So therefore it's like inoffensive.
You know, I was so scared to leave too. And I feel like I was walking on eggshells, and I tried to like say everything like the most polite way. And now I'm just like, fuck you, you dumb fat bitch. Like, cause it's like, you're damned if you do or damned if you don't. Even if you try to be the nicest way. I said in my video, I said, I want to lose weight. And like, if you want to do this, like you can try too. And then that one fucking dumb bitch who made a video about me was like, and Angelica says that she has control over her body and every fat person should lose weight. And I'm like, I literally did not even say that. They just put words in your mouth.
Your impression sounded so much like Cartman. I feel like you've got like a good back pocket, like Cartman up your sleeve. That was great. No, I think it's so personal. All these people are so personal. Like they're so bothered by you doing anything. And they think that like, everyone is so self-centered. They think everything is about them. It is wild. I didn't make any changes, really. I think I was like exercising visibly. I just, at least being able to speak freely was so freeing to me, because I was hiding so much. And even if it's I've got tons of stuff that I don't share online, that I just have decided that that's a private element of my life that I don't have to publish. Right. But there was something about this that felt like I have to call this out, because I have to be honest, because this is what my platform is about. And at that point, it had been months. It had even been a year that I hadn't used body positive hashtags. So people were like, oh, so you take up space here and you make money off of fat people? Breaking news. Not all fat people think the fucking same. And I know that because at my most body positive, intense, I still was fielding questions from women being like, do you have any pants that don't show off my belly? Do you have any shirts that are flattering that cover my arms? So even if I was like the most like opted in to this ridiculous mindset, the majority of my audience still wasn't, you know? And I think that was something that like, that probably still infuriates like Carissa and other people who have been very vocal about me. Carissa's so insane to me because
can we backtrack a little?
Yeah, let's do that.
What was this first post that you made? Was this around your heaviest weight? And do you know what like time this was?
I think I had lost some weight, because part of working with this therapist was like, she was trying to get me out of this place of like how horrible I felt. So it was the summer of my honeymoon, which would have been, I think, summer 2022 summer 2022.
Okay.
And
And this is pre-GLP-1?
yes. And I
Okay.
had already lost a little bit of weight because my therapist was like, let's try and put some elbow grease into this. And
Mhm.
I want you to see like what you can accomplish on your own. And I had no idea how heavy I was at the time. My highest recorded weight before I got my surgery was 348 pounds.
Mhm.
I know I was heavier than that just by visuals alone and by like
Yeah.
my clothing sizes. So I'm
Mhm.
sure I was over 350 and my life was so painful. Couldn't wipe my ass. That's the big thing. But I wouldn't even go get the mail. Like it was, it hurt to be in bed. Like that is how you know
Wow.
that you are screwed. It hurt to be lying down. And I think that it got to a point where I became scared of exercise because I kept injuring myself walking. I would
Mhm.
like twist my ankle, hurt my foot all the time, just like going to the store. I like ate asphalt frequently. Even though
Wow.
I'm gonna try and exercise, I would fall. It was like a weeble wobble. I felt really scared and unsafe, like how fat I had become. And I think that like, you twist your ankle like 2 or 3 times in like the span of a month. You don't want to
Mhm.
go out. You don't want to move your body.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point, my timelines are so messy. I wish I had like I need to like actually like notes app this out. And like, I
The
can
whole
go back
timeline.
if you want, if I'm sure there's like internet archivists among us that can like scroll through my Instagram and be like, this post was then, this post was
Yeah,
whatever.
I'll try and do that.
I think that like Obese to Beast like did a thing on my like honeymoon post that I had put up because that was such an important element of this whole thing. Like that was the first, I
Okay.
think, public broadcast. So I had lost a little bit of weight because my therapist, and I kind of left her because she was very anti me working with a doctor. So she was very anti GLP-1 or weight loss surgery or just like seeking help from a doctor.
And this is a different therapist than your current one?
Yes, I have a
Okay.
completely different therapist. This is the therapist that did change my life in that we worked through like, hey, let's leave this. She was
Yeah.
great in that way. But then there were elements that I was like, I don't really connect with you on this point of view because she was
Mhm.
very like crunchy granola. She wanted me to eat everything organic. She wanted me to never try like sugar or fake sugar. She wanted me
Mhm.
to live like a completely like holistic lifestyle. And I did it for a month. And I can like say that like I felt incredible. I needed that jump start, and I think I lost like 10 pounds, something like that.
Wow.
Something where I felt loose. I would clock it as
Mhm.
10 pounds. I had no idea. I was afraid of the scale at this point. But
Yeah.
it felt like I felt an impact. My clothes felt an impact. And I think I got a couple of DMs being like, what are you doing? Snoopy, Snoopy. And that's what led to me finally being like, I'm just going to say it. And I think something that was monumental, that I'm so glad that I had the foresight to make this decision, was one of the biggest things. And I think what led to me pursuing GLP-1 and bariatric surgery was I am just going to go to my GP and I am going to say, I want intervention with my weight. I am ready for help. And I leave it up to you, knowing my stats, knowing my blood work, knowing my lifestyle, whatever you think is best, I
Mhm.
will do. And that was huge because the body positive community wants you to not take advice from your doctor. They actively want you to not step on a scale in front of a doctor. They think that your doctor is evil if they suggest weight loss. And my
Mhm.
doctor was, nice. I was actually recommended to my doctor by another fat woman who was like, she doesn't bring up your weight if you're there for something else. She attacks something else. And that, I needed that for a time and that served me for a time. But it
Mhm.
was huge to suddenly wake up one day and be like, I want to ask my doctor her full blunt advice.
Mhm.
And I explained to her like where I was at. And she was like, I would intervene with these new drugs. And if that doesn't work out for you, we can talk about surgery down the way. And this was like so early days of GLP-1 when I think that you could be like really ran over the coals, like even like discussing it. But I was just at a point where I was like, I don't care. I will try this. It worked a little bit for a while, enough so I gained mobility, which was monumental.
Was this
Uh,
2023 or
yeah,
a little bit late?
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because I moved to New York the same month that I did GLP-1, and my big thing in my mind was I was gonna be like, oh my God, like walking through Manhattan, I just got so skinny. Like I didn't
Sex in
want
the
to like,
City.
yes, I didn't want to like tell anyone like, oh, I took these shots. So like it was just like being in a new place that changed me.
Mhm.
Which is like,
Yeah.
and I have a hard time like lying or like keeping things. So like I think I like let it out like kind of immediately, being like, I'm on
Mhm.
GLP-1. If that bothers you, please go. And then I think it got to a point where like I gained that mobility from my butt. And I think that, I mean, it came from somewhere. It came from people being like assholes, you know? And then I said the big thing, which was like, I can wipe my ass now and I don't care.
And you did that on your story, right?
Yes, it was just my story. I always knew like there is power in putting published content online on your grid that doesn't go away in 24 hours. That to me is like, I stand by this. I'm saying this with my full chest. When you say something on your story, you're expecting to say it to like the people that like care about you, that keep up with you.
For sure.
I don't think that like half of these people that like made such a huge deal about this were even supportive of me or following me at this point. A lot of the vitriol I've gotten from the body positive community is because they seek out this shit. They care about that. Like they can say, oh, I just want to protect my community from these harmful messages. Bitch, you publish it to your community. You're the one putting it in front of their eyes, because I encourage people who have a problem with what I'm doing to leave. And so the people that like would be harmed are gone. The people that like me are here, that like know that they're not being triggered or whatever by what I'm doing. You don't care that much about your community if you're bringing them like, hey, this influencer that you trusted, that you probably gave your money to, she's on this drug. Like,
yeah, like they're exposing them to more shit.
Yeah,
quote unquote.
Yeah, it's just a money machine for them. It's like probably a slow time on their blog, and they wanted this salacious thing because it was salacious. It was, and because it got published on this blog, it got picked up by bigger news outlets. So be careful what you say in print. I mean, it's not even, I said it on my fucking story. I got on New York Times. Bill Maher did something about it.
What?
Bill Maher gave me the 𝒶𝓘𝓾 award, which I do love. And I wish that it had been like a physical award. It wasn't. It was just like a bit on the show. Because I would love
so
like,
funny.
balls in my office.
I'll find you some.
I think I was so scared. I got in so many fights. It was like so many people were like hitting me up with DMs, and I didn't know how to control it. I think that like the biggest mistake you can make is keep publishing and keep discussing about it. But I would screenshot the DMs because I wanted people to see like how
what happens.
What happens is it just invites more people to have the same conversation.
For sure.
And I think it got to a point where like somebody said that like I was like Hitler, and I published that, and I was like, you can call me Hitler all you want, like I am just losing weight. And then a really big influencer who's Jewish DM'd me, and they're like, you are anti-Semitic for saying this. And I was like,
you didn't even say anything.
What? And they were like, well, you were dismissing like the harm of Hitler or something like that. I don't know. Like it all was what the body positive community like would say, like it's connected to these people's like the anguish that this small group felt, the anguish that this huge group felt. It's, if you are not fat, and I knew that like this woman was a fat woman, she doesn't care. Like that's, I don't know, like it was not a flippant statement about this horrible person who committed atrocities. It was like, I can't believe that people are calling me this person for losing weight. It was not a minimization of it at all.
No, for sure. It's just like, I think people just get so like up in their feelings that they can't even sit there and like read something without like getting triggered or upset.
No, and it's just like, it is crazy to me that people care this much about what I'm doing with my body. I think of myself still as very small fry in the world of like online content creators. I think that like it's exciting that to some people I was emblematic and they wanted to mold their lives after me. And I know that I've had impact on people, but like at this time I was very much like a shut-in. So it felt like I was playing a little game on my phone that gave me money. It didn't feel like I had an audience of thousands of people that like started living their lives like me and then had a personal like connection, or if I were to suddenly change my habits. Like I didn't understand the power that came with this. And I think that people also love a scapegoat to see as like the villain. They love like a common villain to be like, this girl is what's wrong in body positivity, and she's going to cause a ripple effect in other people. And I think also what terrifies a lot of these people is that I'm well-spoken and I'm intelligent. I communicate bluntly. And I also communicate sometimes using some of their therapy language. And I think that they have really like weaponized all that, like weaponized being intellectual, weaponized being educated, and weaponized like having an awareness of like being ethical to facilitate their like skewed view of reality. And so I think that they got extra mad, probably Carissa. I think Carissa has just had it out for me for a long time because there was a reason, and I can't even tell you, I don't remember why I was specifically afraid of her. Because I'm sure there was like moments where she like tried to realign my perspective, and I felt like that she was some kind of like enforcer.
I feel like she's called out other people too before, but
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know if this like imagery is going to make any sense in my head, but it's like it feels like the body positivity is just like it's like an ocean, and then like it's all calm and everyone's starting to like pan out, and some of the water from the ocean is going down the river, and like we're all spreading out or like doing our own thing, but then all of a sudden like there's this drama and like everyone comes together and like makes this giant event and it like explodes and it feels like a fucking hurricane, and then
Yeah.
then it slows down, everyone starts to do their own thing, and some of the water drops, they evaporate and they become clouds, or you go, they all do their own things and they leave the body positivity movement, but it's like they just need something to get upset about or like someone to villainize, so then they can like all come together as a collective again to make sure like we're all here and we're all still like believing in the same things. Like they need someone to hate and to talk shit about to like make sure that this movement is still alive, because like without the drama, it's like there's nothing to fucking talk about if there's not like a viral video or like someone losing weight.
And what's funny is that they have such bad faith in people. All these people behind the scenes, I don't care, the most like woke, intense, body positive person makes self-deprecating fat jokes. They do. That's just what happens. I continued making those jokes that were normal for me to make. People like Jessica Torres would make like full ass like videos being like, this is so problematic. I think I made one where I was like on a treadmill and I was like eating ice cream and I was like, when you want to lose weight, but your man likes it thick, like something stupid,
Yeah, I remember that one.
I had friends like message me being like, I really think you should take this down. It's really not offensive. And it's about my personal experience.
Yeah.
But it was like, it became a huge thing. And like Jessica made this video about like, everybody makes videos about like how I built my community like on the backs of fat people. And Carissa uses this language
like they're
too.
slaves building a pyramid for you.
I think they also like, they say like they care about fat people, but they treat them like children who are inept and incapable of making, discernible like decisions based on.
Yeah, they infantilize fat people.
Yes. And it's ridiculous. They think of themselves as like the freaking saviors of all these people, and that these poor fatties would have nowhere to go if I didn't establish my online like subscription platform for them to visit.
If they didn't have my Substack to read, they'd be so stupid and alone.
The martyrdom that they really just like plop themselves up like, I have no time for these people. And they care so much about like the baby ears of the fat people hearing the horrible vitriol that Rosie is spewing online or Angelica is saying online. We wish they were dead and not actually saying these horrible things. Like fat people are like, us making autonomous decisions for ourselves impacts them as much as like someone being like outwardly cruel to them.
Yeah.
I can't. And in that way, I think that's like also disgusting. And like you said, it's infantilizing and just, I could go on.
Yeah, for sure. So back to the weight topic. So you were on GLP-1, you lost a little bit of weight, and then that wasn't working. So you decided to do the gastric sleeve. When did that started a little bit, was that last year?
Yeah, it was.
You started the process?
I started the process in January of last year. I was on an influencer retreat, still on my GLP-1. It's a retreat that my agency puts on for us to all unite and like talk shop and catch up with each other. It's really, really cool. I wish more people would do that because that's how I get to interact with people that aren't in my bubbles, and just like meet people. All of the fun activities that they had planned for us were so physical. And it was like horseback riding, it was yoga, it was all this stuff. And I just felt terror, everything that we were doing, I felt absolute terror.
Were you the biggest one there?
I don't think so. Okay. But I still, I think that like, I think bigness is interesting to bring in because I think I have small bones. I don't know what's going on because like, I know people who are fatter than me, maybe they're lying, that seem to be able to like take on they have more ability than I had at my biggest. When I have like, when I cross into that 300-pound threshold, like the limitations for me like go up, like they skyrocket, and I'm unable to do like, I'm even, you know, like I said, I was eating asphalt all the time. So we did yoga, and you know, the pose, the resting pose is child's pose. And I was unable to do it because of my belly being so big. So I kind of just like sat like on all fours a few times. And I was just like, this isn't life. I was on this trip and I was just like, I'm done. I called my husband and I was like, I want to start researching. I want to get the okay from my GP, because at this point I'd been on GLP-1 for like 2 or 3 years. And it was just like, I was staying on it because it was effective guardrails. So like I wasn't gaining weight, but I really like had flatlined on my loss.
Do you feel like that was your next wake up call besides like the theater?
Yeah. And I forget, like, I enjoy being active. There have been so many times in my life where like, especially things that feel like more flowy, you know, witchy, like in tune with nature. The fact that I couldn't ride a horse, they had horseback riding. I opted out of it, obviously, because there was a weight limit on horse riding. I felt uncomfortable, like going on like walks outside. I feel so at home and joyful when I'm like hiking or like being outdoors or doing like yoga, doing, like I said, anything like witchy, nature-y, I love.
Yeah, connecting with nature or like your inner self.
Yeah. When I'm in yoga and I'm supposed to be connecting with my inner self and I'm supposed to be like breathing and all this, all I could think of is like, I'm so fucking fat. I can't even do child's pose. Ow, everything fucking hurts. Like, what am I doing here? Like, I can't even take, you know, the easier pose. Like, it's not possible. And I went back to my hotel room. I called my husband, and then I took the night off from all the other influencer events because I was just like feeling so discouraged. And then not only that, after I had the phone call with my husband, the next thing I did the next morning was I just started telling people, and I didn't care. Like, I just started being verbal. There were girls on that trip who are very vocally outspoken about being body positive. I told them. I think I was just like, I'm getting weight loss surgery. I'm getting it. And it was like, it was such a huge thing just to be like calm. I'm sure they probably were like, why is she telling me this? But like personally, it was like, I have to like jump over this hurdle and be vocal. And I'm not going to keep this a secret. I think that like when I got home, I was like, I'm making this decision. I'm ready to do this. And I want to like take you on this path with me. Which I am so glad that I did, because when you get weight loss surgery, you have to see a ton of specialists. So I was definitely one of those fat girls that was like, my blood work is amazing. You have that, not me.
You have type 2 diabetes, not me.
Not me. When you see a specialist, things are coming up that do not come up with a normal GP. I don't care what blood work you do, et cetera, et cetera. So I learned that the amount of weight on my chest had compromised my lung capacity significantly.
Oh yeah, I've seen you talk about this on your story, I think.
I don't know like the percent, I don't know like the math and the science and the specifics of it, but it was to a point where it was like a red alert. And I wouldn't have found this out if I didn't go to a lung specialist to for my pre-ops.
That's so crazy.
And most of these people are like, I'm fine. My blood work is fine. No. You are not seeing specialists. Because there's probably like so many underlying things that could pop out. There's a couple of things about like, I get spider veins in my legs. So like I saw like blood doctors and I saw like heart specialists. I didn't like pick up anything for like issues with my heart, etc. But like the lung thing was very scary for me. And I had felt stuff like that. Like I felt easily out of breath, like in the smallest test. And that's what led to me being like, when I was at my hugest, when I was my most humongous, I love branding and I'll pay attention to it. I literally just like was lying in bed or lying on the sofa all day, knowing that like my weight, it was specifically because my fat had impacted my chest. And I don't even have big boobs. So it was just like the fat on me, on my back and on my chest impacted my lung capacity significantly.
That's nuts.
Yeah. And that's why I'm such an advocate for surgery, because I think that I was at a point where like, I admire so many people like you that are doing this naturally and coming at it from a place of like, I'm doing this, I'm working my ass off, but I'm scared to think of how I could have injured myself at the highest weight that I was. And it was nice to have like a doctor being like, I think you need intervention in like, maybe not like they wouldn't use the word extreme, but like in so many ways, like
you need like quick intervention.
Yeah.
And the surgery can help you with that.
Yes. And even my surgeon was like, I'm so glad that, you know, you went down this path, because this could have like had a real world impact to many different parts of your body. And we wouldn't have like seen this coming if we didn't have this like test done. Surgery was one of the scariest things I've ever done, because, you know, you're so big and you're under anesthesia, which is so unsafe.
Which one did you get again?
I got the gastric sleeve.
Okay.
So the way that I and my surgeon talked about it is that, like, I want guardrails. I love working out and I love doing all this stuff. And I think that, like, what led to like extreme obesity was I went through 2 traumatic experiences, which we didn't speak about, but I'm not really ready to speak about. So
Right, I respect that.
they kind of like just like drove me into like seclusion, and then becoming like stupid, like super morbidly obese on top of it, like made me even more secluded. So like I've always been a heavier person, but I enjoy activity, I enjoy movement. And I think it got to a point where I thought moving was sinful in so many terms, and then I wasn't pursuing it, so it just like snowballs, you know. And then it got
For
to a point where I
sure.
was so obese that to try to move could hurt me, which is crazy.
Yeah, it could be dangerous.
Yes, and that is dark. And I'm that's why I feel like I'm just like becoming more of a blunt advocate for anything. I respect everybody who is in this space who is anti-fat acceptance. I think it's great. I think that we need to like be loud about it, because the depths of darkness that you can get to are really unheard of. Like, they're just horrible, and I don't want that experience for anyone. I would rather be a little bit mean and off-putting to people and like steer them away from like what I've experienced than anything else. I respect people that are like, I think surgery is like a cop out, like you shouldn't have even gotten there. But I do feel like there are people who like cannot conceptualize of a different route out. Or if your doctor is like, oh, you're gonna fuck yourself up, like whatever.
My dad was older than you when he got his surgery. I think he was maybe like, maybe like 45 or something.
Yeah.
My dad's heaviest was 450 pounds. He's a 6-foot man, but he was pissing blood. He had a CPAP machine. He had to go to the ER because he couldn't breathe. He was starting to have heart problems. And the doctor said, like, if you don't lose weight or if you don't get one of these gastric sleeve surgeries, then you're gonna die. Like, you're gonna not live that many more years. And it's like with my weight loss, my heaviest was 272 in like 2022. So it's taken me what, 4 years to lose 100 pounds. Some
Yeah.
people don't have 4 years. Like, sometimes you have to take the more like intense interventions like the surgeries. And I mean, the GLP-1s can help, but like you said, it only helped you lose like what, 20, 30, 40 pounds. And it's like,
Yeah.
sometimes you got to do like the more extreme measures because you need more extreme, quicker results. And I don't think that it's a bad thing that everyone has their own journey.
Yeah. And I'm trying to be like, as I was speaking, I was like, oh, you're getting a little defensive about this. You're like anticipating that someone's not gonna like that you did this. And like, also, that's okay. If you disagree with me, if anyone disagrees with me about doing this, that's fucking okay. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I went into it as an intelligent adult, understanding that like this is the lesser of other surgeries, and it does rely on me putting in my due diligence in tandem with receiving the surgery. And I wanted that experience because I wanted to get weight off me that was scary, that meant I couldn't do stuff, and then be able to pick up the reins and like have that like mental journey of like, I'm putting effort in, I'm going through it, because I enjoy it. It empowers me. Like at this point, I'm so excited because I feel like I crossed a bend at some point in the last couple of months where I've become extraordinarily active. I am feeling the self-esteem like result of that. And I see some people who are on GLP-1 that do no work at all. And
For sure.
they look kind of like shells of themselves. They look like people who don't know how to exist in their thinner body because it's been such a snap and they've lost like a tremendous amount of weight in a little amount of time. The first thing that people told me, my surgeon told me to get a therapist who specializes in bariatric patients, because the things that you experience going from such a huge weight to like not being at that weight, like there's things like transfer addiction, obviously. And then there are things even small of like, I have ingrained in me like the world is bad if they hate fat people, and if people are kind to me now, then they're bad. Working through that with somebody on a weekly basis has been instrumental to me, like not giving up, not being afraid of losing the weight, and unpacking like bullshit like mantras that I've had ingrained in me from the body positive community that still sometimes like peep out and say little things that are just like untrue.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate how long it takes to like deconstruct some of those things. Cause like, I mean, like I plateaued around like 200. I was starting to be like, maybe I'm supposed to be 200 pounds, like set point theory. And then like the last couple months, it's been hard for me to get out of 170. I just got out of it this morning. And I'm
I
like, maybe I'm
saw.
supposed to be overweight. Thank you. But I'm like, it's just like those little things, like they still stick with you. And you're like, maybe the fat acceptance community was right. But then like
Yeah,
you keep doing the shit that you're supposed to. And then, you start to see the fruit of your labor.
it's so true. And now, I don't know, I feel genuinely, and if anyone, is watching, is thinking about doing surgery, I am such an advocate for it, especially if you understand the consequences. My surgeon and therapists told me things like, you have to be unafraid of losing every relationship in your life right now. Like, you could lose your marriage, you could lose all of your friends, all of this stuff. I don't know. I kind of like started seeing what I was doing as like I was like a knight on a mythic quest, like overcoming all these challenges. I even like saved a bunch of pictures of like Joan of Arc and stuff like that on my Pinterest. And because every time I went to a different specialist before my surgery, it felt like I was overcoming a new challenge and like meeting a new doctor who could potentially like be, I don't know, mean.
Yeah.
and or learning the depth of the damage that I had done to myself. Like it was hard. And it's really hard for people, especially I had like a psych eval, and this woman was very, very unkind to me. And then I learned from people online that like the psychs that they have when you're doing surgery are usually hired by the insurance companies. So I treated them like they were trying to make sure that I was mentally healthy for this, but in reality, they're trying to find ways to like not get my insurance approval for.
Oh, wow.
So just like learning things and having that information, and then being afraid to like let it all burn. I can think of some people that like I sense shifts in relationships. And I also know that like, even by virtue of like coming on and speaking with you, that like some of my friends that I've hung on to, I don't know how, after leaving the body positive community, because some of those people who probably wouldn't support me publicly, we still have like private relationships, which is a weird thing to even wrap my mind around. But I also noticed myself like low-key judging a lot of people who are still entrenched in that environment, and hearing their like the brainwashing that exists for them still, that they have no control over what their lives are, that even trying is like an act of disobedience and could harm other people. Like there's so many people that I have in my life that are still of that like mindset. I'm sure I offend daily on my like little fitness account that I have.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. It's been the hardest challenge of all of this, even like coming in and out of anesthesia and like feeling like a doll that had just been sewn together, and like having the physical awareness of my organs because they had just been operated on. It was such a surreal experience. All of that has paled in comparison to facing the fact that I could lose relationships that were really important to me and choosing myself over that.
That's incredible. But even just like, I know like we have friends or had friends that are in the body positive movement. And like some people don't know like how crazy things can get and whatever, but I feel like with the body positive movement and health at every size, it really has even infiltrated like just general society. Like, I mean, you can have dispositions to like type 2 diabetes, but people act like that is solely genetic, or it's just normal. Like everyone in their family is obese, so it's normal for them to be obese. And I don't feel like people understand how far all of this goes and how even this weird little niche part of the internet has changed society. And I mean, I do believe that there's like other works at play, like ultra processed food companies and like big pharma and in the medical industry and stuff. But it's like people that aren't fat acceptance or body positivity still believe a lot of the same things. So it's even when like me and you, we've left the online communities, it's still like we have the things in our minds that we need to deconstruct, but then it's still like people in our regular real life that still say similar things. Or like my mom has lost some weight, but she's like, I'm fine with still being obese. I don't need to lose any more weight. And I'm like, girl, like you're not fine and obese. Just because 75% of this country is overweight or obese doesn't make it okay to be obese. Like you still need to push a little bit harder and like lose that last what like I think she needs to lose like another like 30 or 40 pounds. And it's like it's just really frustrating and sad how normalized a lot of the stuff has become.
Yeah. And it's also interesting how politicized a lot of it has become. I think something that I've had to check myself on. So that like Jillian Michaels conversation that was so great with all her versus all the fat activists.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like a major supporter of Jillian Michaels, but like I thought that's what made that content even more impressive, was that like she looked so sane and intelligent in comparison to like every person that was ranting and raving and emotionally volatile in front of her. I don't agree with her politics. I don't have too much in common with her, and I still think that she like profited a lot over being like salacious more than she was impactful on people's lives. But I loved the things that she said in that interview, and I think that she made a lot of great points. And she did an excellent job debating. And I think that there's elements of like within that community, I think that people are looking for dog whistles. So I think that like if I'm engaging in eating organic food, or if I have opinions about like processed food or whatever, then I'm on like a pipeline to being a trad wife. And I think that there's a lot of like, there's no room for nuance. There's no room for like that you can take ideas from anyone, any person of any creed or any background, and that can be information that's useful if you implement it with like nuance. And it's been interesting because like I think that some people have like, I don't know so I reshare a lot of fitness motivation, like kind of like meme people. I love it. I love meme motivation. I think it's so much fun. And I don't know the freaking backgrounds of everybody that I reshare. So I'll get people being like, that's actually a really bad person. And I'm like, well, I like what they said in this element of their life. And I think that something that I've tried to like open myself up to after leaving body positivity, because the main thing that like put me in a fear state was like, if I didn't care about this one marginalized group and follow the rules, and I didn't care about other groups, and I was a bad person, and I was like, I don't know, loves Donald Trump or whatever, like whatever the farthest thing from like whatever their values were, if you even dissent the most minimal way that you can, you're suddenly like in the opposite end of the spectrum. I think like having to divorce myself from that, because that's another tactic they use. And it's interesting what this whole process has opened me up to is just like nuanced thought and having productive conversations with people and listening and learning. Because I'm sure that there are many things that you and I disagree on, but because we have this like shared set of values, I think that like we find common ground and we're a lot more open to each other's opinions on things.
Yeah, I think like leaving the movement like allows for people to think more critically and to figure out like what they actually believe in, instead of just like following what everyone else says because you're scared to be outcasted. And speaking of like the politics and everything, I remember I got a comment a while ago, and it's like someone was like, you know, Angelica's really going down like the alt-right pipeline. And I'm like, oh really, me? With the first generation Mexican American husband, with the gay best friends, with the trans best friends, like it's crazy how like they could just like push their own thoughts and beliefs onto you, or it's like if you don't agree exactly with what they do, then it's like you're all of a sudden like a huge fucking like bigot. And it's like, oh, what? Oh, I eat organic food now, so I'm a trad wife and I'm like anti-vax. Like, like it just like take it like they are given a centimeter and like take a fucking mile.
Yes, it's so rooted in fear and ensuring that you stay afraid and then you comply to the perspective. And what's also interesting about body positivity is that there's no fucking like written set of rules anywhere. And so you have all these people enforcing and acting like cops, which don't get me started about like a lot of these people are very left, and a lot of these people have like they have left behind things in their life. Like a lot of people might have come from a very religious background, but they haven't removed themselves from like the purity culture related to all this stuff. So they're still like enforcing people, keeping people in line, like participating in these things that they've left behind because of their politics and values, but they haven't like left behind or unpacked, to use their term, like the emotions and the meaning behind it, which ultimately is like control and wanting to control others. I mean, I could get on my soapbox for a long time and like really, you know, take this to like a philosophical place, but I feel like a lot of these things are people reenacting the types of boxes that they felt like they were put into as kids, and they're turning around and they're implementing it on their new set of like groovy values that seem like a little bit more freeing, but ultimately they want people caged. They act like cops. I don't know. I feel like
I was just gonna say that they literally police people, police their language, and like what they're allowed to do with their body, even though they pretend like they don't care.
And I think we're heading into like dicey territory, but I think these conversations were really helpful to me because of how much of my values and ethics were tying me to the body
Mhm.
positive community. And I thought that I would, in fact, become a bad person if I had left it behind.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly how I felt too, because I already said this before, but like, oh, well, fat phobia is rooted in racism, ableism, anti-blackness, blah blah blah. So if I want to lose weight, then I'm all those things, and it's like, no, that none of those things have anything to fucking do with each other, and your body and your politics and like the way that you believe shouldn't have to like be tied with how you feel about your body and your health.
And something super important to like examine too is this community cannot take criticism. Even if it's coming from a place of like thoughtful evolution or wanting it to be better, they will become immediately defensive and angry. And I think that that was like, you know, if you want to talk about it as like leaving it like a cult or thinking it's a cult, I think that that's, to me, that's a enormous red flag for unpacking like, is this a, I don't know. I'm getting somewhere. I'm cooking. We're cooking.
Yeah, we're thinking about it. So, where are we now? How when did you have the surgery? How many months out are you, and how many lbs have you lost?
Okay, so I've lost 86 pounds as of
Wow!
today, and I had
Congratulations.
thank you so much. And I had the surgery in July of last year. We're about to be in June. My goal is now to get to like 100 pounds by my anniversary. Like that's what I
Mhm.
really want to do. And I know that that's like, who cares? Because as long as I'm losing and as long as like I like my daily life is different, and I'm active and I'm like participating, like I'm happy. But I have a lot more lofty goals. I want to be out of the obesity category in BMI. And a lot of people still ask me, like, why do you care about BMI? It's the metric that my doctor uses. And like I
Mhm.
said before, one of my biggest things for me was I trust my doctor and I go by what my doctor says. So our
Mhm.
first goal is to get me to 35 BMI. I'm 40, I believe, right now.
Awesome.
I was 56 at point of surgery.
Oh my
Yes.
god, you've lost like what, 15 pounds or 15 BMI points? I don't know
Yeah,
what the
something like
unit
that.
is.
Yeah. Which is crazy. That's incredible because when you lose something like that, then you like think to yourself, I can do more. Especially at these higher weights, when you get like out of the 200s and into the 300s, it's amazing like how much you lose from life. And then when you start to regain access to it, it's like, oh my God, like, wow, the 260s, this is great. I love this. And I know that
Mhm.
that's somebody's beginning weight. I'm just so excited to go to territories I've never been in. I think my lowest weight as an adult was 180. And my first goal is to get under 35 BMI because
Mhm.
35 BMI is the qualifier for surgery, like for insurance and for doctors. If you get to go to surgery if you have a 35 BMI or above. Beyond qualifying for surgery is huge. I think it says a lot about like what I've achieved. And then from there, I want to get out of obese BMI and then out of overweight BMI. But then I know it gets a little bit trickier to understand, especially if you are someone like me who's building muscle, but usually it is
Mhm.
pretty correct unless you're like The Rock or something.
Yeah, well, and most people aren't The Rock, so
Yeah,
how tall are you?
I'm 5'7".
Okay, yeah, I knew you were a little bit taller. So what's your daily life look like now?
First of all, we want to talk about privilege and all that. I'm a fucking person who gets to make their own schedule. So I get to do
Mhm.
whatever I want whenever I want. My most important thing to me right now is movement and being able to cook my meals at home and eat my meals at home. And you are hitting me out a week that I feel like I have just discovered gold. And that is I like to eliminate my 10,000 steps in one walk because I think that whenever it's like, oh, I want to get it over the course of a day, that to me is not as intentional as I want my fitness to be. And
Interesting.
I've already felt my stamina change. I've done this for a week. It's crazy. It's really exciting. I think it's a fun challenge. And I'm currently just seeing, is it something that like I can implement with like weight training and all of that? I'm so in a fun experimenting phase because after you kind of like build up that first base level of daily activity, then you can start being like, oh, if I do this, then. But I will say this week, I have felt my like kind of surgery weight loss pick up kind of like it was earlier months. And I am also getting to, I feel like my meals are hitting better and they're like, everything's digesting. It's fabulous. So I
Mhm.
love going on one long walk. It feels so good.
You doing that
It's
outdoor or indoor in the gym?
outdoor. I am among the
Woo!
trees. I'm in my woo woo. I did it in the rain one day. It feels so good. I love it. I've taken a break this week on weight training just because I wanted to feel the impact of this routine isolated.
Mhm.
Prior to that, I would kind of do on and off, like days focused on steps or days focused on weightlifting. Weightlifting, I'm focused mainly on back and lower body, just because those
Uh-huh.
are enormous muscle groups that like impact the rest of your daily life. If you work on your back, it's so helpful. A lot of what I felt when I was at my biggest was like a tremendous back pain. And so like building up my back strength is really good because now I care about prepping for the future because I will get sick again. I will maybe get injured. I will maybe,
Mhm.
my husband lost his father last year and I saw the toll that grief took on him. So like now I care about building the foundations of good habits and muscles and all this stuff for like when that happens to me. And I don't know how it's going to affect me. I don't know if it's going to be something that like emotionally capsizes me and makes me like feel like I can't leave my house. I'm so like, oh, always thinking ahead. But I know that there's going to be times like I'm a person that likes to like have depression and all that kind of stuff, and I know that that comes in waves. And so I want like while it's sunny out, while I feel great, I'm taking full advantage. And so right now it's the walks. Next week, who knows? I really love getting it all in one go. Like the first day I was out the rest of the day. Like I was out of commission. We like watched TV and we just hung out. That was on Saturday. So this is like
Mhm.
so new. Since then, I've kind of played with at what point of the day I do it. One day I did it at 5 p.m. and that was so great. I slept so well that night.
Oh, I bet.
I was like out. And then I still think it's the best in the morning because I get to be out and moving and then everything else feels achievable. I feel like I'm a lot more liquid with my creativity
Mhm.
and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, this is all over the place. And I don't know, like, I don't think it's like falling into my past of like over exercising because it's like I'm capping at 10K and then anything else
Yeah.
I get throughout the day is gravy. And I don't like force myself to do anything uncomfortable.
Mhm.
And then I also just like, I don't know, I'm so like, I don't care about like, oh, you better watch yourself, you're doing something bad. I feel like that's also a body positive thing. That's like, I'm trying to just be like, hey, maybe that worked. Oh, that's a little too much, and not make it into a whole big deal,
Well, it seems like you are really focusing on how you feel and also like building a foundation for like your future, which I don't think has toxic roots, like the going to the elliptical for 4 hours a night.
I mean, now though, there's an element that I've started having discussions about openly, which is fun because now that first layer of like getting that surgery weight off, it was
Mhm.
like emergency, like I can't move. I've really destroyed my life, like let's get rid
Yeah.
of it. But now I'm sort of like, oh, I'm sexy. Like now I'm kind of like, oh, what if I like work on my booty a little bit? And so now I'm exploring like the aesthetics of fitness and
Mhm.
that's really exciting and empowering and I'm starting to like have conversations about that publicly and people still get really even the people that are still with me despite everything I've unpacked, despite how blunt I've become doing fitness for anything but like health and wellness. I think people get a little afraid of it and I want those conversations to be okay to have. Like
Yeah.
we should be able to work on our physique. I mean, obviously, and I don't need to even, we shouldn't have to preface this because we're all adults within the realm of normalcy and health. Like, you shouldn't be hurting yourself. But I think that there's something to like say publicly and be confident in. I love the look of a toned, muscular physique that like
Mhm.
emphasizes the booty or the back or the arms or whatever. And I think that aesthetic is sexy and I want that for myself. It's weird that like that is still something that like people get a little upset with me for. And I don't know. I think I'm being a little challenging with it to people.
And not to be like so woman about it, but it feels like that's always something that's like if a man says that it's totally fine. He's just a gym bro. But then it's like for some reason if a woman says, "Oh, I'm trying to work on myself because I'm doing more squats because I want a fat ass," it's like it feels like it gets demonized. But it's like why is it okay for like men to talk about how they want to look shredded, but if a woman like wants to put in a little extra oomph to her appearance or like start some like training, like she's instantly like that's toxic. That's like going against like beauty standards and blah blah blah. It's like Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah, someone said to me, I think they like said a whole comment. I like clapped back. I was like kind of rude, which I'm also enjoying being a little bit rude publicly because you know, who cares? I'm an adult woman. I will not get fired from my job that I made for myself. And then also like, even if brands like pump the brakes on like working with you because you're controversial, they will come back if you're making the sales. Like that's what I've learned over being in this industry for as long as possible. They don't care. Like they do not give a fuck. I feel like we should just have more conversations like this as I think of more things because I feel like I would even do a Q&A with you. It'd be really fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got so much like behind the curtain on like fat influencer bullshit that I would love to exhume and just have people know about.
We'll have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we should fuck around and find out. We should do it. I'll have an herbal beverage and we'll really
let's see how much in trouble we can get Rosie in.
I'm interested in trouble right now. It's that I say that once you have the confidence of knowing that you've done something for yourself, and every day I wake up with the confidence of like I have these abilities that I am building. I'm seeing physical strength in the gym. When you build up discipline, there is little and little that people can say to me that like affects me in the same fearful way that it did in the past. I mean, I say that now. I don't know what Carissa's got cooking, but like all these people, they like look where I used to hold them in a place of perspective. Like this person's more knowledgeable than me. They speak better than me. They have like, you know, they'll spin circles around me. Now I'm just like, I don't care. I do not care what you have to say. I know how I was suffering. I know how I feel now, which is a million times better. Getting the weight off is a million. I'm sure you feel the same way. And now I feel like I have no threshold for bullshit from these people because it's lies. They are telling themselves lies. They're telling you lies. They don't want you to leave because misery loves company. They are advocating for misery, period. And they're not going to be happy until I don't know what the goal is, which is so upsetting. Like
there is none.
What are you doing? And it's like not even worth it because like I think a lot of people, and I would love to have this conversation with influencers, is that like you are a storyteller. People care about people online, and anyone isn't. This is like an improv thing too, is that like because people will get on stage and they'll be like, why does anyone care about me? We care about people who are not us because they're living experiences that invite curiosity from us. So if you think that all you had to offer the world was your body as a fat person, to me that's that is
just
so
sad.
Yes, it's very sad, and it's also very dehumanizing. It's objectifying. It's nasty. And people have stayed with me. I have 200,000, like I have over 200,000 followers still. I thought they would all leave me in the dust. My friend sent me the best quote. I want to share it with the world. And it's like, the more people that leave, the louder I get. The people that stay connect with you more. Like that's how I find people like you. I think I love like the fat acceptance YouTubers. I'm a Sunny Side Up pal. I love Honey Bison. I love all of you guys. I watch you guys so much. I mean, you see me commenting, I'll like drop in. It was just so funny to hear how brave, sarcastic, and sassy everybody is. And they're like unafraid of like setting off the horde, you know, to come and get you. And being able to like, a huge thing that I lost in this process, I think, was my sense of humor because I was afraid of making jokes. And that it has been such an intrinsic element of who I am as a person. And to see you like be unafraid of making jokes about these people, about this lifestyle and this mentality, like has been deeply empowering to me and has helped me break free from this like toxic mindset. And I feel like some people might feel like, oh, this is a little mean, whatever. Like, be fucking mean. These people are harming people with this rhetoric. And then further, they go out of their way to like essentially dox people who want to leave it. And you should be able to come and go from any perspective without like feeling unsafe.
Well, the people that tell me I'm mean, I get so many comments like this. The first couple times I watched you, I thought you were mean, but now I just know that you're telling the truth, and now I think you're funny. It's if you think someone's mean, it's probably because there's a hint of truth underneath what they're saying, and it offends you.
Well, you're coming from a place of like you have personal experience. And I don't think that like you can have like an emotion that people might interpret as mean if you aren't connected deeply to something. And like, as you're not just sitting over here being like, look at these fat fucks, like you were a fat person entrenched in this mindset. I'm a lot meaner. Like than I used to be. I mean,
Mhm.
particularly behind closed doors, but more and more I feel like I step a toe out every day on like my little fitness platform and I say something sassy. Today I made a meme that was like, my fitness goal is to make my husband look like he's wealthy. And like, because I can't wait for the day where people like look at my husband who's like a bald comedian and they're like, why is he with this guy? When I feel
Why
like
does he have a trophy wife?
yes, and I think before it was like the opposite because he was like a thin guy, a slender, like
Mhm.
attractive guy who dressed well, and they probably were like, why is he with this fat fuck? And like
We
I
need to reverse the roles.
yeah, we have a lot of like we're so funny, like with each
Mhm.
other. Like we don't care. Like we're hard to offend. We make jokes at each other's um whatever. And that's the other thing. My husband is not a pervert who just likes fat women. Something that's been really helpful during this process is I kept being like, tell me what skinny girls you think are hot. And I because I'm also an advocate, like if your man is like with you just because you're fat, you need to leave that shit right now.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's scary.
dude, I feel like that's what's keeping a lot of these women like in these situations is because like they have an infrastructure around them that's keeping them fat. Like I can't imagine like 'cause I had an ex who was like obsessed with fat women. If I was married to him, if I had his kids,
Oh
what
my
would I
god,
do?
you couldn't leave.
No, I'd be fat forever. And that dude used to like, I swear he was like into like feederism. Ask me more because I feel like I'll just go into my ADHD like pockets of
So besides the exercise, like what's your other daily life look like? What are
uh,
you eating these days?
what am I eating? I'm eating kind of like my rules for my surgeon are 30 grams of protein per meal and
Mhm.
no snacks unless like I need to pass out or if I didn't meet my goals. So
Are you
I
doing 3 meals a day then or
yes,
more? Okay.
yes, 3 meals. 3 meals, and I really try to like. I would say that my if I was to, like call my diet something, it would be chicken. And
Period.
I know how to doctor a chicken into any cuisine and how to like we know how to make things taste like a fatty would like them, I think. So I will do like I make a big roast on Sundays and
Mhm.
I do that with like a half chicken and I really dress it up. It's like Thanksgiving over here. Like I'm really trying to put effort into my cooking and I do that with like
Awesome.
a lot of vegetables and like herbs and I put that in a big like brazier and I put that in the oven for like hours and then it's incredible. And then I take
Ooh.
all the meat off the bone and I take all the vegetables and I put them in like meal prep stuff and then I serve it to us like we get the beautiful version and then for the rest
Mhm.
of the week we're eating like some component. What I really like to do is mash all this shit up with eggs and like
Mhm.
cheese and like it becomes kind of like a pancake in the UK.
Oh.
It's called Bubble and Squeak, but mine is probably a very, bastardized version of that. But I love that. That's like one of my favorite things. If I can like bind things with eggs and just kind of make it into like a scramble of some kind, I love that. And then I also will become very boring and just eat the same thing over and over. And I feel like that is such a great tool. Like
Yes.
I just make chicken thighs and I just will be like, I have a chicken thigh and some broccoli. That's what I'm eating. And maybe sometimes it's a chicken thigh and a piece of keto bread. Maybe it's a chicken thigh and Quest chips. I don't care. It's the chicken thigh over and over and over again. And it's cooked. Is it cooked like an Italian chicken thigh? Is it a
Mhm.
Mexican chicken thigh? Is it like it's a chicken thigh?
Anything you want it to be, baby.
Yes. And I think that like the best advice I can give anyone is just to get boring with what you eat because then you're
Mhm.
not thinking. I think the worst decisions you make are when you're on an empty stomach
Yep.
because sometimes I'm literally just like, it'll be 8 p.m. and I didn't eat my dinner and I'm like, I want Taco Bell so bad. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's when
not
the
gonna
cravings come.
yeah, I'm not gonna rest until I get my Taco Bell. And then I eat a piece of chicken and I'm like, I don't care, whatever. I love
Mhm.
string cheese. I would say always have string cheese. It's an easy way to get like some great protein in at any meal. So if it's like the chicken thigh isn't gonna be enough, get a string cheese in there and your vegetable. The trashy stuff that I like to eat, because I have become a doctor of Quest chips. I
Oh,
love
yeah, I
to
saw
make
your, you made nachos or something
I made a
or some
walking taco because
yeah, those
I
things.
I saw like because we have a dine-in movie theater next to us, and I had a walking taco there, and I was like, if I eat that, I'm gonna be sick. But I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna
Mhm.
make my Quest chips version of it. And I made it with like ground turkey, fat-free sour cream, and salsa, and a little bit of that Tostitos like nacho cheese, and it was like bomb. So I still have
Mhm.
to like appease the fatty within. And
For
if I can
sure.
make a piece of chicken taste like pizza, it's gonna get a little mozzarella and some like turkey pepperoni. I love sugar-free bomb pops. that I got really addicted to during my liquid diet before my surgery. They are back again. I don't know if they're seasonal offerings. I just assume they're seasonal offerings because Bomb Pops are very like 4th of July to me. I always have sugar-free Cool Whip in the fridge, and I eat that with like blackberries, and then I'll mix it. I'll take the sugar-free Cool Whip, berries, and I'll mix that into like a vanilla oikos protein yogurt.
Yum.
Yeah, all this I love. I feel like a fat girl, former fat girl, I'm still fat, always gonna know how to make this shit taste good. We're gonna find our way to like the junkiest version of the healthy food. And I do drink.
That's a mindset.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't want to say this, but I feel like she's always gonna exist up here.
Oh, she does in my head.
Ideas because like she needs her cheese. First of all. Yeah, no, it's chicken. I want to like branch out more, but I don't. If it ain't broken, I'm not gonna fix it. Oh,
for sure.
And I love the tuna packs so much, like the sweet, like the spicy sweet, like Thai tuna, stuff like that. So good.
So mainly just focusing on protein, you think?
Protein's it. And I think that like I am so happy I got the surgery when I did, because so many people are like, oh, I hate this protein craze. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So here's some questions I pulled from Patreon. I guess let's see. Let's do some more weight lossy things, and then we'll tie around to fashion. Honey Bison asks, what would you tell someone who is in your shoes right now who thinks it's completely hopeless?
There are people who are incredibly intelligent that know exactly what to do, and you should contact them.
So reach out for professional help.
Yes, reach out to a doctor, a therapist, because your messaging of like, my life is hopeless right now is untrue. And you're right now in like a mind loop where you're going to keep telling yourself this stuff because it's only based on like what your brain knows is true, which is a lot of like dead ends that you've reached. And I promise you, there is someone more intelligent than you who is certified or has education in whatever element you need help. If it's the mental aspect first, if it's the physical aspect first, reach out to someone that is smarter than you.
That's amazing advice. I might steal that. Another question from Miss Melina. What would you change in your process if you had to go back from the beginning?
I mean, I wish I would never have gotten involved with the body positivity movement, but I can't.
Oh, I think she means like weight loss. You only get to go back for weight loss.
Yeah. I was like, I would never, because I do feel like, okay, it's hard to know when, because I think the earliest it was a child. So I think I'm one of those people. It's like, I don't think it's on a child to like divorce themselves from body positivity. And
how about just like your highest weight? Like, what would you start over again?
Okay, if I had to do it again, I would have talked to the doctor sooner. I would not have I would have been like, I want the surgical approach, because GLP-1 is very new, and some people it doesn't affect at all. Some people are like huge reactors and they drop like 150 pounds and it's effective to them. I would have gone with like what has become the gold standard, the proven like medical intervention solution, which is surgery. I would have gotten surgery years ago. I'm not a person who can wax poetic and be like, oh, I missed so much out on life, because I take so much value over my experiences and what I've been through. Because I think feeling this way at this level and so publicly, you cannot tell me shit now. Like I literally, I feel like taking it from all these people just like on the nose, and then now like getting to where I am, I know that if that had happened like sooner in my journey and my process, that maybe I wouldn't be as mentally fortified as I am right now. But I would have gotten the surgery sooner, especially at the highest weight that I was.
For sure. Robin asks, what is one food you had to turn away for good? Like, is there one food that you had to completely cut out of your diet?
Well, it's hard to say, because like sometimes in a pinch, on a road trip, I would say like fast food is really shitty. But then I also think that like if you're smart, you should be able to eat any food. And if you have good habits, you should like, I think there's power in like interacting with a food that could set you off and knowing that you can have the fortitude to stop eating. I don't know. I tell myself little poems like Uber Eats is for ugly people and fast food is for fatties. But like in a pinch, I will interact with stuff. And like, I think like Chick-fil-A chicken is so like helpful if you're on a road trip and you need something like,
oh, for sure.
Great.
Do you have any cheat days? If so, what do they look like? Also from Robin.
They're at the movies. So a cheat for me is a meal where I'm not focused on protein, where I'm eating like whatever. So like if I'm at the movies and I get a popcorn, especially, I'm going to tell y'all, here's what you got to do. You got to go to Regal Cinemas and I get a child's hot Cheeto popcorn, and it's so funny because like all the things that I'm like, this is bad. It's like I eat the smallest amount of it, and I'm like, oh, I feel like I ate a Thanksgiving dinner.
I'm gonna barf.
Yeah. And so, but like this hot Cheetos popcorn at Regal Cinemas is unreal. If you are a fan of either of those things. And then also it's like, I only do it when I see a horror movie, and I don't try to do a full day. It's like, I love having the popcorn at the movie theater experience, and
For sure.
I try to let it be its own special thing. So that's my big one.
All right. And then this will be the last we'll wait one, and then we'll kind of go into fashion.
Yeah.
Robin asks, if she could talk to her old self, what is one bit of advice she would give her?
No one is going to hurt you. All these people that you're afraid of are so unimportant, and they will never steal your joy in the way that you are allowing them to like feel like they can do. These people are not scary. They are losers, and they are at home on their ass. Anytime I've seen a video of fucking Carissa, she's been lying down while she's been attacking me. She can't get me. Like, none of these people.
You could outrun her. You could probably outcrawl her. Crab walk.
None of these people can get you. And you can turn the phone off. You can turn the computer off and go outside and talk to anybody. I don't care. Go talk to a stranger with candy. Like,
yeah, get in the white van.
Go to the white van instead of like fat talk. I would.
I think too, we give them more power than they actually have. Like, we are so scared of like getting into fights with them, and of course, like there is backlash and shit. I mean, we both got it, but it's like the power we have within ourselves and like the confidence that we can gain during this experience is way more powerful, and like we have more strength in ourselves than like these fucking random losers on the internet do.
And they are only powerful because they gave themselves power. You can go be king of any like weird point of view that you have on the internet. You can go be king of boogers. I don't know. And then you'll go a following of everyone else. It's like, that's the way to get protein in.
King of the Discord.
Yeah.
The subreddit. All right. Junk Alchemy asks, any tips on sizing down or wearing beloved clothing pieces longer while losing weight? Have you done any fun repurposing projects? If not, is there any creator recommendations you've seen doing these things?
I don't know how to do crafts like that. I'm bad at it. And I also divorce myself from emotional connection to apparel. That's a huge thing, because I think there's also like weird things that you'll do, like, I don't want to size out of this or whatever. But if you're looking for practical items of clothing while you're losing weight, one of my favorites is overalls, because those stay on your body and look cute when they get big. And I also think like your pants can make it another size than you think they can, because I feel like the baggier pants look cute on me. I love the way they look. I get a belt, punch holes in it, keep going. With emotional clothing, so I'm trying to really access that. Maybe my wedding dress, but even then I'd be like, whatever, I'm never going to wear this, and I don't have kids, so I don't give a fuck. I think you could make a quilt. You could hire someone to make a quilt of your items. You could turn it into a pillow if you are crafty like that. I thought that the clothes would be a bigger element of this process than it ended up being, because I think that I really don't I don't want fragments from my past with me to remain with me. I think there's energy there. I think that it's just like, I'm happy for it to be gone. Sell it. I love selling, and I love donating, because I think about like, there's a fat girl who feels like garbage, and I have donated so many massively expensive clothes that I only have access to because of being an influencer. Like,
oh my God, they probably like praise the Lord when they come upon the stuff that you donated.
I have donated a $700 Selkie dress to the Goodwill. And then I've donated like tons of beautiful workwear to like women's shelters. And I don't do it all one place, because I know that like some places are like, but I also know that there's a fat girl who like loves to go to Goodwill. So I want something there for her. And then I know that there are women at shelters, and I know that there are people at churches who want to dress a little edgier. So I really like go and I intersperse it everywhere. And then also,
that's so sweet.
You shouldn't hold on to this shit. It is memories and like weird stuff. Like I'm even like excited to get a haircut, get my fat hair off of me. Like I'm getting so woo woo right now, but I'm like,
No, I
I
love it.
want it. I want it gone. And I think that I could see myself keeping my wedding dress, but I would probably have that sent to a seamstress or someone who could repurpose it into something. Well, my mom's a quilter. I could see doing something like make this into a blanket for our bed, which I think is romantic. So
yeah, I convinced Robin to donate a bunch of her like fat jeans. I'm like, you need to get rid of that energy because like subconsciously you could be like, well, I have these jeans I can still wear, so it's okay if I fall back. And it's like, no, just
yeah,
like get that out of your house.
a huge thing that I fell into is like all of these things have value and I need to like sell it so I can like get the income. But it takes time to do all that stuff. It takes
Yeah.
labor. And I would make more money like taking new pictures, to be honest, or like chronicling my weight loss. And I just say you never will fail by giving it to someone who's less fortunate.
Yeah.
It's always going to be received well.
For sure. If you're not a good sewer, you could probably find a seamstress in your area that'll do it for cheap. There was like this old lady gang in my old town that would do everything and they only took cash, but they would like fix shit for like $5.
Oh my God. I love that. I mean, it's like people want to be busy, especially at that age. I feel like they're doing all types
yeah,
of
they're
stuff.
doing charity work for me, fixing my my clothes.
Yeah.
But there's so many people that sew and shit on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you go.
I imagine maybe Etsy you'd find someone who does repurposing.
Oh, for sure. Bunny Honey asks, how did your personal style change as you've lost weight? Is there anything that you love to wear now that you wouldn't have worn before?
I am kind of in an area right now where I do have some like self-conscious stuff coming up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like it's kind of I felt it was like easier just being like, I'm fat as fuck. I wear whatever I want. And now I'm starting to have areas that I have a little bit more like I'm more self-conscious about my legs than I used to be. That is where I'm starting to see some loose skin. And it just like it's not that like nice taut like balloon fat that I used to have down there. It's
That's
like,
how my arms are.
it is moving. And so I'm wearing a lot of like maxi skirts and maxi dresses. And I like I'm not like shaming myself for this. That's another thing is like it's kind of fun to have like a problem area. Like fuck it. Like everything doesn't have to be like you love your whole fucking body, girl.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wear I'm wearing jorts that go down to my knee. Thank God those are like trendy. I'm wearing like broom skirts right now. Personal style, like I feel like I'm letting myself look a little bit more busted than I used to because whenever I left the house, I had to be immaculately groomed as like a fat lady. Especially I used to live in Texas where people judge you a lot more on appearances. And now I wear a little bit less makeup and I love that. And I'm a little bit less like I have like the best dress in the bag and like all that. And then I also am wearing a lot more clothes that are like reflective of my interests. So I love like spooky movies and horror and stuff like that. So I'm dressing a little bit more alternatively than I used to. And that's really
I don't know.
fun.
Maybe because it's just spring and summer right now, but it feels like, well, like from the before and after photos you posted recently, it seemed like when you were bigger, you were a little bit more witchier and dark. But like recently, I feel like you've been like a little bit more like 𝓂𝓃𝒃𝓃𝑔, like more light with your colors.
You know what? A lot of people have brought that to my attention, but I think that's just like a seasonal thing that I go through a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
And no, you could be right. I don't know if that's happening. It's subconscious because like
that's happened to me when I was like at my heaviest. I was super dark, witchy. I felt like I put on a fucking costume like whenever I got ready. But now it's just like I do what feels right, or like I feel like I'm just dressing so much more like lighter colors for some reason.
You know what? I think it's like some things don't even need to be unpacked. I think that we see, like so many people like want to create narratives for us because weight loss is so like nebulous and like meaningful to the people witnessing the person losing weight. I'm okay with letting this journey be something that I reflect on and being like, oh, I was wearing lighter colors than like needing everything to be like
meaningful.
So fucking deep. Because I'll tell you every day, I'll be like, I feel like a witch. And then people will be like, well, actually, you dress like a peasant now. So explain yourself.
Well, actually, you're more cottagecore, spring, dark summer, whatever the color theory is.
Oh, God. Yeah.
All right. And then Hannah Smith asks, how did you form your style? Were you always just a witchy biatch?
I think it was just like I have like my goal, and my husband knows to compliment me like this. I've worked at Anthropology since I was 17 years old, on and off. And like my biggest style people were like the managers that worked there. They always were girls that like had pretty dresses, but like were very tattooed. And so like whenever Houston tells me like you look like an anthropology manager right now, I get so like, yay! Like it feels so like
Yeah.
I love girls who wear like, and I think that even when I dress a little bit more darker, I love contrast. So I love like a pretty dress and like being really tattooed and I love that look. And I think I'll never stop. But if you want to figure out your personal style, this is the advice I give to everyone. And I'm in a process right now of doing it over for myself, which is I have a Pinterest board and it's just called like what I like right now. And I pin everything without a goal of it all looking similar. Even if it's something that's outside of what I normally like, or if it's not cohesive, I'm like, oh, I like this. And I challenge you to do that for like 3 months. If you can do it for longer, go for it. And then after like a 3-month period, and get on there every day and do like 10 pins. Like go through Pinterest and be like, the only question you say is, do I like this? Yes or no. You don't ask yourself anything else like, would this work on me? Is this right color for me? Does this match the other things I posted? Because if you do like 10 pins a day over a 3-month period, you're gonna have a huge Pinterest board, right? And then you go through it and you see what are the patterns. And then you can like take out stuff that are like, that doesn't really go with the other thing. And then you'll start to see like, oh, I really gravitate towards green. That's interesting. I didn't know that. And it's just like, it's inviting your subconscious to play and just go where you find joy. And I think that like you'll find an emerging pattern from that.
Yeah, you can kind of find like the common thread and then kind of like dissect what your vibe is or if you're gravitating towards certain things.
Yeah. And don't box yourself in. If you like wear pink all the time, but like one day you want to dress like you really like ICP, like do that.
Go
Friday.
ahead.
Yeah.
Fashion is fun.
Yeah.
And then Robin asked, I feel like you kind of answered this, but absolute style staple. I know you like the overalls right now, but is there anything else that you're obsessed with?
Well, I commented on your top, and we've talked about this being pricey, so I don't want to like price anything out, but like Free People is such good weight loss clothes. Like everything is so free flowing that you can buy it when you're fat, and then it starts looking right as you lose weight, so you can get yourself in it. So I still wear like some of the Free People dresses I bought when I was like a size 24, 26, and now they look right on me.
Now it's the Free People style.
Yeah, they love it. So it's like it really does, like you get a lot of like legwork out of it. I do think dresses again dresses in general are really useful, especially in the hotter months like this. Our culture is so casual right now. This is low-key an outfit that I think tricks people into thinking that you're kind of done up. So I like a pair of sweatpants, like in a fun color. So you could do like a butter yellow sweatpant in your sneaker. And then if you wear a white button down with it, it's a fun like little combo where you look a little bit put together, but you're wearing sweats. I have been complimented on that outfit so much by strangers, and you just throw a necklace on, but like you are in your fat pants, and it just looks a little bit better than wearing a t-shirt if you wear like a great button down with those.
Very like Pinterest streetwear vibes.
Yeah. We're in a great time for weight loss clothes because of how fucking huge everything is right now. I feel like I think the pants are baggy, and it'd be a lot more noticeable if you had to replace your skinny jeans every month.
Yeah, I was just about to say we'd be fucked if this was the skinny jean era.
Honestly, like I'm wearing pants that I really shouldn't be right now. The only place it looks bad is your ass.
That's not your business.
No, what is the back of me is not my business. What do you like to wear?
Well, I feel like I'm a bad person to ask about like the clothes that you can wear for a while because I hate wearing belts. I feel like it's like the neurodivergent in me, but if anything takes more than like 2 seconds to put on, like I don't want to wear it. Like I rarely wear my Doc Martens because I don't want to tie them. Yeah. And I don't like wearing pants super, super big because I don't like having to like, do I not sound like the laziest fucking person alive? I'm like, I don't want to wear a belt because it takes too much time to buckle.
Is that old fat like coming in? Because I feel like I've had to like, I wasn't doing lace up shoes because my husband was literally tying my shoes for me at one point. So sweet. I think the big takeaway is that I have the best, sweetest guy ever. So I'm like not ever pulling for the lace up shoes. I'm like, I need to slide into them. So do you have any like avoidances because you have that fat mind of like, oh, this is going to be like a problem?
I've always been able to like tie my shoes and stuff. It's just like, yeah, I could like tie my shoes when I was 270.
I wasn't that fat bitch.
Reminds me of Robin. I was like, oh, I used to use beach towels because I was so fat. And she's like, oh, I never did that.
Same. Yes.
No, it's just literally like an ADHD thing. I feel like if anything takes more than like 2 seconds to do, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. But
It
like
pisses you
as
off.
soon as I can wear like a fucking sandal, I'm in a sandal until like I'm about to get frostbite on my toes. Like I love a sandal. I love anything with the drawstring waist. Luckily I was able to find these pants I bought at Urban Outfitters like last year or 2 years ago. Because everything's like can come and go so fast, but I was able to find them in a medium. They're stripes. I love those. I just rebought this old Vera Wang skirt, which is 10 years old. I'm glad I was able to find that on Poshmark.
Cool. Cool.
But I don't know. I love dressing super casual and then just putting like a bunch of crystal jewelry on and like dressing it up that way. I have on my favorite Judy blue like ripped jeans right now. I wear the hell out of these too. I don't know. I'm like more of a casual girl. I put on a little cute outfit because I was gonna film this with you and then I'm gonna interview Anna Tripp later today. So gotta make
Cool.
a bang out of my buck.
I'm literally not wearing pants. And
That's
then
okay.
I just like to acknowledge that, like, so this hasn't been too much of an issue for me. My primary job is fashion influencer. Like, if you really want to know what my habits are, I just tell them the next size down whenever they're like, hey, we want to send you stuff. And so I'm always like rotating, and I'm very freaking lucky to have that, because I don't know what I would be doing. I'm just telling you. And I don't like to, we'll get lost in the sauce too much, but I don't like to keep a lot of the clothes that I get in, because I don't want to be like, have to deal with like the taxes of all that. And I find that if I get it out of my house as soon as I like show the content, then it's not, then I've donated, then it goes on my taxes as like a donation. Because you shouldn't be like keeping a lot of this stuff unless you like, because you'll have to like write it as like payment in your taxes. And I don't want that.
Yeah. Oh,
So
interesting. Yeah.
I have like a
More
revolving
business.
door. Yeah, and it's also just like I don't want to be a freaking hoarder. A lot of these girls, like some of these people, the fat acceptance people, have such a scarcity mindset about like these brands are not having their plus size clothes anymore. They are. There's tons. You can shop at so many places right now, and all of these girls have like way more apparel than anybody should ever own. I have more apparel than anybody should ever own, and I'm actively like getting rid of it as I go. So
yeah, it reminds me of Samira or like Tess Holiday too. They bitch about like clothes not being available in their size, but then like Samira has showed her walk-in closet and it's like packed to the brim. Or Tess Holiday's having these like thick thrift like
yeah,
racks and racks and racks of clothing. It's like, oh, I don't really feel like you're being discriminated against fashion
you're
wise. You
done.
got a fuck ton of it.
You got the wardrobe. You're done. You don't need any more. Like, it's like a really weird mindset that like you have to be like, I don't know. I think that's like a collective issue for everybody. And it's hard. It really does derail like personal style if you're constantly chasing like the optimal ideal and all that. We can get it. I feel like we've got so much to talk to, because I feel like you and I haven't like actually chatted like in this way. And so I'm like, oh my God, my friend that I see on my TV is.
I know it's so nice to like be able to talk to everyone, like, because it's like you've been following people for so long or you chat with them online. So it's like I feel like everyone I've talked to or like filmed with, it's always like the connection is just like automatically there, because it's like we've been chatting so long before anyway.
Yeah.
So it just comes naturally.
We have so much in common. Like this is not only have we been through like we've been fat, we've been part of a crazy community, we've disbanded from the community, now we have like a sense of humor about that. Like it's so cool. It's like such a specific thing to have in common with people.
For sure. I won't keep you any longer.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a part 2 about some fat influencer shit, but any closing words or any motivational things you would like to tell whoever is watching right now?
Lose the fucking weight. I think that if you are fat as hell right now and you're like, why does this hurt? Why is this hard? I think if you lose the weight, it'll go away. And then you also, if you're like, I can't lose the weight because of a person that is not you, that person gots to go. Like rethink that person's impact on your life and why anything that they think or feel about your body should impact your body. It shouldn't.
Yeah, you are the most important. Your health is the most important. And if someone's opinion about your weight loss or taking your health seriously affects them in a negative way, that's their issue to work through, not yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Screw them.
You screw them. Fuck them. All right, Rosie, thank you so much for being here and spending 3+ hours with me. I appreciate it so much. And I'm sure all of our my unfiltered divas will appreciate this as well.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm sorry if I rambled and I didn't get to the point enough, but I wanted to make sure I had all the information for everybody and have it for you to like use and empower you with, because these people act like they really are the most powerful people in the world, but they're little idiots.
Some would say that they're very large idiots.
Oh, Tia.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like this video and go follow Rosie's fashion page and her fitness page. I'll have everything linked down below. Peace. And I just want to say thank you again to Rosie for coming on my channel. It was an absolute pleasure to have her, and I would love to make more videos like this in the future. Let me know if you would like me to have Rosie back on. We could do another Q&A, or maybe I can even make her react to some fat acceptance nonsense. If you made it this far, leave some roses in the comment section for Miss Rosie, and make sure to go follow both of her social media pages. I'll have everything linked in the description.